Hello.
I'm all laughing.
A what?
This is going to be our most political episode.
See, that's the third or fourth time we've said that.
No, for real this time because of how topical this one is.
Well, yeah, it's just corporatism in general.
So let's immediately get any chance of monetization out of the way first. Kyle, you know what BlackRock is.
Yes, I do.
You
Fuck
know
everybody who works there.
you know what the World Economic Forum is.
Yes, they want us to eat the bugs, own nothing, and be happy.
And you know about even though most of the stuff is still subjective, the whole Pizzagate and Jeffrey Epstein scheme.
Pizzagate, I was iffy about that being an actual thing, and it turns out a guy ran into that place with a gun and like threatened the whole staff, and it turns out the place didn't even have a basement. But Jeffrey Epstein,
It's
that was a real thing.
they were onto something, but they got the address wrong. It's not a pizza restaurant; it's an island.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Ghislaine Maxwell is won't kill herself because somebody will kill her
We're
for
going to
us.
we're going to see the Wikipedia context posted beneath this video in the description.
Yep, I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Uh, and we may or may not need to make this episode a two-parter because we are talking about Pentex today,
Yes.
where those three things we brought up before, uh, White Wolf knew a pattern when they saw one, and behold, all that stuff will come up as we are talking about Pentex. It should come to your mind as we're talking about this company. It is very clearly based off of BlackRock.
Mm-hmm.
Um, BlackRock today, like how many Fortune 500 companies do they control? Like 70 to 88% of all those companies.
Yeah, basically, like BlackRock is
And
Pentex. We already know that, and
yeah, and even though there's an IRL Pentex that's based in Texas, but I think it's like a small time company
yep.
more than anything else. Don't prank call them. They've probably heard it millions of times already.
I don't know about that. There aren't a whole. I don't know how many werewolf fans there are that actually know that it's a real thing.
Yeah, but, well, not that many werewolf fans at all.
That's
We
true.
already got a pretty niche audience.
Yep. We are niche internet micro
And
celebrities.
so we're going to talk about the main villain of Werewolf, which is the Worm, but this is the modern day cult of the Worm. The Worm has realized that creating a satanic cult in black robes, walking around with torches in their hands, sacrificing babies and women, it's not going to fly anymore. If you do that, the Inquisition is going to hunt you down and kill you. So they're going to do it legal-like, saying, all right, Weaver, we can play by your rules. We can take all this money from the New World Order, the Syndicate, the Iteration X, the Progenitors, and a little bit from the Void Engineers. The Void Engineers are kind of the only good-ish people in the Technocracy, even though they cause the Wicked Nightmares.
Yep.
Uh, if you can't figure this out already, this is a massive international company that started in America that has bases everywhere across the world and is this lawful, evil, stupid company that wants to destroy the world and is deliberately doing whatever it can to try to end the world, along with having multiple black site projects that will advance the end of the world. But you may be wondering, how is a business supposed to function in this? Well, that's the thing, because a lot of companies that are absorbed into Pentex go out of business very quickly. We can begin with our first company. Have you heard of Good House International?
Actually, no, I have not.
It's a fake company in the game, that's why.
Oh, okay.
So this was a company that made stationery. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah. Do you want me to? Do you want to throw a picture of it in the thing so I can
Well,
put
they
it up?
don't have a logo. That's the
Oh,
thing.
okay.
We can just have like the good old Pentex logo pop up on the screen. Yeah, I'm popping it for you now.
I'd appreciate it.
Let's see. So behold, you get a big old Pentex. Here we go. Bombs away. There's the logo.
Kind of a mundane logo, if you ask me.
Well, of course, it's corporate schlock, soul-draining, banal bullshit. It's supposed to look like this.
Yep, that's true.
And as you're looking at this, wonder if I should pull up the subsidiaries book instead, since we're mostly following subsidiaries with this. Let me see if I can get a copy of this book as I'm talking. As you look at Pentex, they had a company called Good House International, which was all about building stationery off the back of the destroyed Amazon rainforest, uh, which was very topical during the 1980s and early 90s. Uh, you've seen Ferngully, right?
Yeah, I have. I remember watching it in middle
And
school.
you remember just how incredibly boring and terrible Ferngully was?
Uh, I mean, there were some interesting parts to it. I actually like the villain.
Yeah, well, Tim Curry is able to salvage any part of your movie, but
That's true.
he can only do so much. And yeah, you had all this like anal flex, save the rainforest, yeah, going on around that time, which eventually that caught up to Good House, thanks to a combined effort of the Uktena, Fenris, Glasswalkers. Everything they were doing in the Amazon was leaked. Staff started quitting, or they were killed by the werewolves. Stocks plummeted. Massive layoffs happened, and before you know it, that company was gone. So Pentex is making a lot of progress, but they're also losing just as much progress as they're making. The only reason why they're doing as well as they're doing is because they're ponying off the back of the Technocracy, who is the villain above the villain when it comes to these games.
Mhm.
But
Well, as we've said
that's
in the
seen as
past, like the technocracy has caused a lot of heartache, especially for European Garo.
absolutely that should be what you prioritize on, because if you don't have a technocrat, you don't have a Pentex employee, you don't have a Pentex company. But as we know, the technocracy is too high and mighty to ever be touched by anybody. If you were going to do something, that moment has long passed,
Yeah, more or
and the
less,
Weaver
unless you
will
get some
control the
mages to
world.
help you, but that's something else.
You're going to need every member of the nine traditions, and the nine traditions hate each other. That is not a unified group by any means.
Oh no,
You
no.
think there's in you think there's infighting amongst werewolves? It's even worse with mages.
Oh, I
It's blurry as shit, but that's what the book looks like.
that looks just about. I love the one picture, like here, the fucking guy getting his head bitten off by a werewolf. That's hysterical.
Deserved it. Don't worry. Don't cry for him.
Oh no, I didn't say that he didn't deserve it.
All right, let's turn this music off. All right. Here we go into the history of this terrible, terrible company. Now, Kyle,
Hmm.
what can you tell me about John D. Rockefeller?
John D. Rockefeller was known for being a oil baron in the United States. Basically, he owned the largest plots of land within the United States with the greatest riches of oil, and was directly responsible for starting the oil boom in the Midwest and Texas.
See, and as PragerU would love to tell you, he was the best millionaire who ever lived because he gave away half his money, allegedly.
Just because you give away
Um,
your money doesn't make you a good person automatically. Like
doesn't mean
at
that
least Carnegie, even
he's
though he fucking did have
Mhm.
some draconian work conditions because everybody did at the time. He still founded, the Carnegie Institute. He founded Carnegie Mellon University. He funded a lot of public art projects. Like he used some of his money for the public good.
bad people can do good things, good people can do bad things, and I don't care how nice of a person John D. Rockefeller is, he ended up setting up a domino effect as to how to start a monopoly, how to start a corporate monarchy, and how to be in power forever. The Rockefeller family is still ludicrously powerful today,
Yep.
them and the Rothschilds. We began our story with a spoof of the Rockefellers, We have one Jeremiah Lasseter, who has no relation to John Lasseter of Pixar. Whenever I look at his name, I immediately start thinking of him. So we begin in 1865. You ready?
Yes.
Uh, So he was a guy who started a company called Premium Oil. He did this alongside the Rockefellers, Morgans, Reynolds, and, well, I'll give you one guess as to what they made.
Oil?
Yes, and they made a lot of it, enough to compete with the Rockefellers. Granted, the Rockefellers would eventually surpass them and join with the Weaver. Laster ended up joining with the Worm because as Jeremiah Lester was drilling for oil, he ended up going into an emptied out Uktena burial site where there was a Bane waiting in a cave for him. He got stuck in a cave in with this Bane, and the Bane said, I could kill you, but I want to play with your dead body first. So the Bane jumped into him and possessed him. Technically, Jeremiah is dead by this point, because once you're possessed, that's it. Your soul's just gone. You might as well just, that was spot leaving. You might as well just be a husk or a zombie being puppeted by a demon.
Yep.
And nobody questions him coming out of the cave-in that clearly should have killed him. But with this new Bane, he automatically starts running his company into the ground, where it still grows in size. It still becomes this massive corporation, but they're doing a lot of really shitty practices. Nothing sustainable happens with premium oil. Pollution out the ass, environmental destruction. They are a major villain in the Wild West expansion. Fuck these guys in particular.
Yep.
And eventually he couldn't keep the Bane couldn't keep the body going, so it ends up dying. I'm looking at the book right now. It said that the body lost its mind from contracting syphilis, and he ended his life by presumably shooting himself.
Oh,
So his son Jacob took over.
Yeah.
And Jacob was a complete moron who ran the company even worse. And he unfortunately died in a yachting accident. We don't know what happened. I said it with a wink in my eye. We don't know what happened.
No, absolutely
It just
not.
so it just so happens that Colin Jenner, a major shareholder, happened to become a company president a week after he died.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1913, he's president of the company, and he's in charge around until 1915, where he makes a board of directors. So, with that, now you've got multiple figureheads running premium oil. And, oh, no, it's not called premium oil anymore. He rebrands the company as Pentex Incorporated. Ah, that's how it got the name.
Yes.
And then he died in 1917 in a automobile accident, only to be replaced a week later by Fulton Clark.
There's a lot of the worm giveth, the worm taketh away in this.
And then Fulton Clark died, and he was replaced by Peter Culliford. And you can see where this is going.
Yep.
The worm fights itself just as much as it fights the planet.
I mean, to an extent, that's usually a good thing. It means that, they don't make a whole lot of progress.
This is also the reason why the Sabbat haven't taken over the world, because the Sabbat, namely the Zumichi, are too busy killing each other to actually focus on their goal. So be happy that there's so much bureaucracy in Pentex, because so many of these guys are getting in each other's way. I mean, we're seeing that today with the World Economic Forum, where you're directly butting heads with, say, housing, where
Mhm.
you have all these landlords who don't want to let go of their land. I told you that it pissed me off when I was reading Werewolf 5th edition, and it had an entire page editorial dedicated to climate change, and not one bit of the book talked about environmentalism. And
No, because it's all
Kyle,
climate change. It's not like, yeah. I personally believe yes. The over usage of natural resources having an extremely adverse effect on the environment. Like, I believe that. However,
but
I feel like Werewolf in general should be more about like stopping these sorts of things, the things that make the air hard to breathe, the things that destroy ecosystems, the thing that make local waterways and estuaries absolutely unlivable and unsustainable.
And that's what I was looking at with that too, because climate change, I mean, like we've already done all the emission stuff. We've reduced our emissions to like what, 2% of the global average.
And
And
China's
even though
still
we've
just
told
dumping gallons of fucking smoke in the air.
China, India, Russia, the Philippines, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, Central Asia,
Yep.
uh, makes me wonder if this is all a bunch of bullshit because I don't believe this is going to kill us. I know, I mean, it's real, but it's not going to kill me in my lifetime, my child's lifetime, my grandchild's lifetime, my great-grandchild's lifetime, so on and so forth. It's not going to be an issue for hundreds of years, thousands of years. But there's a thing with all these different well, I digress. It's the heads of the worm find each other IRL because I can go to Wilmington and I can buy a house and get a mortgage on the house that I buy in Wilmington.
Mm-hmm.
Should I not be allowed to do that if the sea level is going to rise in a year and destroy all my property?
Well, no, but then again, they don't really care about that all that much. So as long as you bought the property, that's just a risk you inherit from having the property.
I mean, same thing with London, same thing with pretty much any city on the East Coast, Miami, Daytona, Tallahassee, Orlando. If the sea is to rise like 10 feet, it's going to kill everybody. So, um, why, I'm also asking, like, why haven't there been mass evacuation efforts? Why isn't, like, nobody actually, like, taking it as, like, an apocalyptic scenario?
Because it hasn't
And just, like,
directly
power grabs
affected the
happening?
people that matter, that being the people with money.
Yeah, and it's also just based off of science. That's all guesswork at the end of the day. It's like you haven't been right in 100 years. On top of that, you're directly competing with Big Pharma, where um, they don't want to let go of their money. If you're going to reduce the population, like you keep saying during your Davos summits, that's going to cut into the bottom line of Big Pharma, who is making a shitload of money off of
Keeping people
the average
alive.
man, the working man. Yeah. We're going to talk about that with Magadon because that I'm going to get genuinely angry when we talk about Magadon later on.
See, I was personally offended when reading about Tentacle from King Breweries, but that's more superficial on my end because John knows I'm a bit of a beer snob.
Yeah, and he is firmly in the clutches of the worm. And the minute he stops drinking, he's going to immediately go into withdrawal, even though he's not a late stage alcoholic.
Yeah,
You're
and then
going to get the shakes.
I'm gonna get the shakes. I'm gonna start vomiting worms in the toilet, and then it's gonna be it for me. I'll dance the black
And you're going
spiral,
to,
and then go down a path of self destruction.
you'll see the thing is you have a demon attached to you.
Yep. I'll dance that black spiral good. I'm a good fucking dancer.
And this goes on and on and on and on. And Pentex is still around today. They have many companies. They spend their money just as quickly as they get it. I'm pretty certain that majority of these companies are constantly jumping back and forth between black, green, black, red, black, red, black, green, black, black, red, black, green, black, constantly like jumping all over the place in terms of stock.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, um, insider trading tip: invest in a Weaver company. Their line goes up forever. It's slow, but it's a guaranteed return.
Line go up, baby.
If you could please invest into DNA and Shinzui, which your local glassworker host definitely doesn't have stock in.
Oh no,
Definitely isn't
he
a
does.
shareholder.
He does. We all know that. Look, we all know you're trying to get droned because then it'll be easier for you. But no, you're just a fucking embarrassment to the Gara. Fuck off.
It'll be easier for me to funnel money into the tribe.
Yeah, and it'll be easier for me to cut your fucking ears off. Now get that shite out my house.
Now, basically that is it in terms of history with Pentex. I mean, like you can like very quickly like grasp as to what's going on with Pentex. There is a funny story though with
Regale me.
Pentex.
Please regale me.
So, I have told you about the Giovanni.
Yes.
So, one of Augustus Giovanni's kids, probably one of his grandkids, I need to check on Enzo Giovanni, like what generation he is, decided that the Giovanni being very good with money, wanted to get their hands involved in Pentex. He is a Generation 6, so that is either grandson or great grandson, depending on when he was born. He was embraced 1871. Okay, he's a great grandkid.
Okay.
That explains it. So he joins, and of course, the Giovanni are very good with business. They are the mafia, of course. And all's going pretty well until Enzo keeps acting out of direct interest of Pentex, resulting in him suddenly disappearing. I guess it's Giovanni or one of his many kids calls and says, "Hey, where's our son?" And Pentex goes, "I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. Do we look like your son's keeper?" Resulting resulting in a blood feud that is raging to this day between the Giovanni and Pentex.
Well,
You have a friend in the mafia.
we should have found some of those motherfuckers to help us out.
Well, the thing with the Giovanni is that they practice necromancy, which is a like
Yeah, a big no-no for the
punishable by
Garrow.
death sin. Yeah. Even though even though there's nothing wrong with it and Wraiths enjoy being brought back to life and being put into servitude, you can't do it.
Well, that and the Geralt do it as well, but the Geralt are better at it.
Giovanni are very good people. You gotta talk to them more often. I went over to one of the restaurants earlier today. It's this Italian restaurant that I've never been to. I went in there. I ordered a 14-inch pizza. It was a sausage cheese pizza, and everything about it was good, but the cheese was fantastic. Before I know it, I ate the whole pizza by myself.
Nice. Sounds like a good pizza.
I didn't know I
Can't
could do
remember the
that.
last time I've had a pizza.
Yeah, see, we like the Giovanni. The Giovanni are good.
Yeah, they made pizza.
Yeah, be friends with the Giovanni. Support your local Giovanni. They really need the money after the Avatar storm happened.
Yes.
Uh,
Pizza, pasta.
and, and you said during the Glassworker episode that was a bad idea.
I mean, yeah, I did, and then I realized there was bigger fish to fry on both of them.
Now let's talk about what countries they operate in.
Yes.
The United States and Canada. This is where they are at their strongest. They have 70 different offices between these two. Their Western branch home office is in Seattle, and their Eastern branch home office is in New York City. Don't worry about it. We just destroyed it in our live play.
Yep. Score one for the Garrow, baby.
And the Ratkin got to whatever we couldn't.
You know, for a bunch of crazy little bastards, they sure do a good job.
They're so numerous. That's why.
Yep.
And of course, just name any major soul-sucking job that you can think of, and behold, that's probably owned by the worm. Um, a few companies can come to our heads already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's play a name game. I start, you continue. We just keep going until we run out of companies. Nestle,
Coca-Cola,
Anheuser-Busch,
Microsoft,
Apple,
uh, Huawei. No, they're probably more.
Ah, gotcha. That's a Chinese company.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get to China in a minute. And if
Yep.
you want to know what other cities to operate in, Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh, shit.
You're fucked, dude.
New Orleans, Louisiana, Miami, Florida, Los Angeles, California, Chicago, Illinois, and Salt Lake City, Utah.
Well, I mean, they've got the Denver, Colorado as well with King Breweries, but that's a subsidiary. That's not Pentex proper.
We gotta call the Mormon Hunters on that one.
Yep.
Why are they called again? The Order of the Roses?
I think so. I don't recall.
And we continue with the Mormon Church for a game.
Mm-hmm.
The events of the Bible took place in North America, guy. For real, for real.
Honestly.
All right. Central America. You were saying something?
No, you're good.
All right. So Central America, mostly Mexico. I mean, given that a lot of American companies have pretty unethical labor practices where they have a lot of their sweatshops in Central America, that's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love Nike telling you all this racial equality shit and have LeBron James as a mouthpiece, and that they have literal slaves in Central America.
Yeah, that's mostly what companies do. They like to put on the facade.
Yeah,
It's their favorite thing. Public image
yeah.
is everything.
Watch the Dancing Pocket Watch.
Yep.
They also they also
Here
have
at Base
major
Booster.
factories in
And where?
uh, Acapulco, Port-au-Prince, and San Salvador,
Yep.
with about 20 offices between Mexico and the Caribbean in general.
That's a lot.
South America, going even further down, namely they're just focused on killing the rainforest. They have just a serious hard-on for wanting to kill the rainforest in particular.
It's like, oh, here's 60% of the world's oxygen supply. Let's get rid of that.
You remember Jair Bolsonaro?
And the what?
Jair Bolsonaro,
He was that Brazilian prime minister that thought climate change wasn't real, right?
who had no fucking business being a prime minister,
Yeah, I recall.
and his whole response to majority of the not majority, a good portion of the Amazon being on fire is, oh, big deal, we can all just breathe a little less.
Bruh,
Was his honest response.
that dude's fucking stupid.
I mean, I hate Lalo just as much, but I'd rather have Lalo in charge than fucking Bolsonaro.
Yeah, Bolsonaro's a friggin' idiot.
Yeah, thank you for rigging the election and destroying 5 million votes just to have him lose.
Hey, cheaters never prosper. You know how it is.
Cheaters do prosper.
Yeah, they do.
All right. As for their offices, they have key operations in Lima and Bogota, and around 20 offices all over South America, with a big one in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, it makes sense. City of
Let's see,
Saints.
and
Home of Pentex.
see with the big Jesus.
Yes.
Africa and the Middle East. Not so many here. They don't give a uh, official number as to how many bases they have. They do bring up Johannesburg, where yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's one of the few places that's like, put together really.
Disease, AIDS, crime, rape to the point where you need to get a specially designed condom that will put spines in the penis of your rapist as he's attacking you.
That's fucked up, but yeah.
Have you not seen these?
No, I haven't. I don't know if I want
Do you
to
want to see it?
though.
Because it's going to make you cringe when you see it.
No, I don't want to. Why is this something we're doing?
Well, it was made out of necessity because the issue has gotten that bad.
Jesus.
But I typed in spines condom. I'm not getting pictures that I wanted. Damn it, Trojan!
Yeah, I think you better that's not something we should keep looking up.
All right, they also have offices in Nairobi, Cairo, what's another one here? Riyadh and Istanbul.
You mean
So God,
Constantinople?
yeah, the city formerly known as Constantinople.
I'm still calling it
But
Constantinople. I don't care.
put the print symbol on screen.
The Prince symbol?
Yeah, the Prince, artist formerly known as Prince, city formerly known as Constantinople.
Oh. Seems,
Europe. I don't believe this for a second when I talk about Europe. You ready for this?
what's that?
So they say that Pentex's encroachment of Europe has been slow and steady, where they have offices in Warsaw, Hamburg, and London, and it's like a slow, gradual increase. I highly disagree with you on that one. Well, I'm gonna say the worm is stronger in Europe today than it is in America.
That's mostly thanks to the technocracy.
Yeah, thanks to Germany completely shooting themselves in the foot with their energy crisis.
Yep. Hey,
Let's
let's
destroy
bulldoze
all of our
the.
coal farms
Yep.
and replace them with wind farms, and then shut down the wind farms, and then just continue to buy coal from other countries.
Yeah, it's like we had
And
the
we have
most
gotten rid of.
sophisticated nuclear power grid in all of Europe. Let's shut that down.
It's just destroy it and then just put the screws to all of our citizens because it's a smart idea.
Ugh, Germany's fucking
Is
stupid.
that is, it's that time of the 100 years again, dude.
It's getting there.
It's fine.
We're about no more than that.
You ready for Great
Uh,
Depression Part 2?
yeah, I'm thrilled. Right as I'm about to enter the job
Yeah,
market.
yeah. You got a side hustle. That's what you gotta do.
No, we all got to do something.
Asia. Um, Once again, another place we were saying there's rapid development, cheap labor. A lot of it is unethical. Um, a lot of places, law offices here, such as Delhi, Calcutta, and Karachi, where there's a picture that I saw a few weeks ago where it was it New Delhi, India, where it was just fucking filled with trash.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
So let me see if I can find this.
Like, I love that one
Um,
picture where it's like a journalist tracked down where the recycling actually goes, and they literally just found like mountains of plastic bottles in landfills in India. Like, they're not being washed out and recycled, they're just sitting there.
I found it. Yeah, this is New Delhi, India. If you want to fact check me on this, this is Snopes that I got this image from.
Then it's probably incorrect, but New
Yeah.
Cosmos Public School, maybe.
Yeah. Let's go out to recess, get the play in the garbage heap. Right.
Smells like
This
progress.
You see, this is why we have to pay our taxes to get somebody to do this for us.
Uh, or you could pay a trash company to do it.
You expect people to do this out of the goodness of their heart.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Nobody wants. Very
Uh,
few people like will do begrudging work for the good of the civilization unless it benefits them directly.
I also noticed that White Wolf did something smart at the time. They wisely kept China out of their mouths when talking about Asia.
And why is that?
Maybe it has something to do with your game getting banned in China if you bring this up.
I mean, I didn't know how many Chinese werewolf players there are anyway.
Let's see. Well, at the same time, as we have learned, China has got some pretty vigorous defenders. So, you know, you can't say anything about them or you're going to get docked.
Perhaps,
What a
but at the
wonderful world
same
we live in.
time, they are, in need of criticism.
Yeah, we fucking love tankies. If you're a tanky, please leave a comment below.
Look, I am a firm believer that everybody needs a level of scrutiny in order to ground them, humble them, and make sure that they aren't saying too much silly, dumb shit.
Also, this is not me being a weeaboo with this, but Japan has a W in this book. Not brought up once either.
There's another
Japan
company
is
that I'll talk about later that's got a tentacle in there.
Yeah, Japan is doing pretty good. Got a little bit here and there, but doing pretty good. Let's see. That said, we do have a little bit of issues in a few Far East cities, like well, that'll be Bangkok, Manila, Seoul, Jakarta. Um, a few contexts in the Yakuza run by the Kwai Jin, and it's absolutely um horrible in Australia.
Is it?
That is, when you look at Rage Across Australia, dude, that book is apocalyptic. I mean, whoever was doing research on Australia must have thought that place was like a nuclear bombed out shithole, and it slowly is turning into one. But
I mean, they don't have freedom of
but
speech anymore, so.
and the police can just arrest you for stuff that you look up on Facebook.
Yep. Hey,
Yeah, that's
Australia, how
why
you guys doing?
that's why a friend of the show, Gary, needs to be like careful as hell whenever we talk to him.
Yeah, bro, he needs to get an exit strategy or arm himself to the teeth
Yeah,
illegally.
yes. See, we are going to start up a GoFundMe page. It's called Get Gary Out of Australia.
Yes. This is so sad. Can we run guns to the people of Australia? This is so
Well,
sad. Can we
why?
revolutionize the Australian people for liberty and democracy?
We're spending too much money on that. Just build your own PVC pipe.
I mean, yeah, like that one crazy dude in Japan that killed that governor.
Exactly. You looked at the pipe guns from Fallout 4, and you thought this was stupid, but no, it's real.
Yeah, and it worked. He killed a fucking, was it the mayor of Tokyo? Did he kill?
Now it's the former prime minister.
Oh yeah, that's who he killed. That's kind of
Yeah,
wild.
which is alarming. Yeah, it's alarming as shit that just happened. And
Nobody's safe anywhere.
Antarctica. Would you like to learn about Antarctica?
Sigmund Edmund Research Station, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, they would love to go to Antarctica. Um, why can't I, as a citizen, just go to Antarctica? I mean, I have to go through like all this like different bureaucracy, um, and then like join a company, like join like a research company, just so I can go to Antarctica.
Because it's cold down there and you could freeze to death.
I want to know what's going on down there because, uh, it's a little bit conspiracy talk, but if you are going to have like a Black Ops project like what Pentex does, Antarctica is so far off the grid with a big layer of ocean between you and the nearest country that you can just do whatever you want down there and nobody's going to catch you.
Until it melts
It's
from
like
climate change.
it's like you think Area 51 is real. That's not real. There's no aliens in Area 51. The aliens are going to be in Antarctica.
Now, there's not aliens. There's just experimental aircraft that we haven't finished yet in Area 51.
The, it's the Clockwork Elves who have stepped over into our world.
Like the F-40 is in, or no, like the FA-40 is at Area 51.
All the people modern day who want to recreate what Merlin did and take drugs while looking to your phylacteries, and then a demon comes out and possesses you, and then you have to freeze his body and put into Antarctica.
That sounds about right. Megatron's down there.
As for their companies, they have many companies. We're going to go through 6 of them in particular,
Yes.
and we are going to wait for Ryan to arrive. So I'm going to tell you the connections that Pentex has.
Okay.
We begin with the most obvious, the Black Spiral Dancers.
Yeah, they're kind of like the muscle of the force of the worm.
But here's the thing, in Book of the Worm 2nd edition, where I'm getting this information from, the Black Spiral Dancers honestly do not give a shit about Pentex. They only work with Pentex if there's something in it for them. If it's a direct, immediate reward that they get from Pentex. Where do not pay them in stock. Pay them in direct money. There's Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, there he is. You've come just in time. We're talking about the allies of Pentex.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All I heard was you joined in just, and that was it.
Oh,
Yeah, you joined in just in time.
Oh, okay.
As for the BSDs, yeah, once again, they need immediate rewards if they're going to work with Pentex. And everybody in Pentex knows they need to be super careful whenever they talk to the Black Spirals, because once again, you're talking to a death cult of werewolves filled with rage. Do not be condescending to them. Don't talk down to them. They will kill you if you do that.
Yep. Know that they are 4 times stronger than you. You are a very squishy meat bag.
They will rip you in half.
And then eat you.
There's also the Fomori, the mutant soldiers of the worm, where congratulations, if you buy enough Pentex products, you too can become a horrible mutant with your soul stolen by the devil.
That sounds about right.
You thought of that woman at your church was crazy. You thought she was telling you about how Monster Energy drink was a demonic energy drink because there was an inverted cross in the O, and the numerals 666 appeared on the can in the form of the claw marks in Hebrew. Nah, it turns out it's real. If you drink enough of those, you turn into a demon from hell.
I mean, I've been drinking a lot of Monster. I'm doing okay as of right now.
And we're not making that up either. That is the mechanic in the game.
Yep, basically. Thank God I got resist toxin.
The Sabbat.
True.
Really?
Where it's to an extent. They started working together after World War II. like 1946, like right after World War II, because Nazi Germany fell through, and that was our cover for doing horrible things. So the Sabbat needed another cover, which was Pentex. And Pentex, if they want somebody to die, and just so happens to align with the goals of the Sabbat, they will gladly take the money and the guns and all the free stuff and go on a jihad. And then after that, there'll be a barrel of laughs. Everybody will have a great time until the Sabbat realize that they can um, crumple the Pentex and then to turn against them.
It's the ideal way to go. It's like, yeah, they paid us. Now we're going to fucking betray them.
If you get in the way of us, if you get in the way of the Gehenna plan, you die.
Well, yeah, but if the world ends, then you won't have anybody else to eat. So,
Yeah, you realize that the two don't get along. You were saying something, Ryan?
Oh, I was just saying true. True that.
yep.
And then we have the Kuei Jin, where most of them are based in Tokyo, and there are definitely some in China, even though it's not in the book. Not 100% they're in China. Have you seen China?
Yes.
The one country I can name where school has to go out because of smog storms.
Yeah, just a beautiful
Yeah.
ecosystem in China.
And the Kuei Jin will only ever work with the Pentex, where, say it with me, if there's something in it for them.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's something in it for them.
It seems to be a running
And
theme with
the-
Pentex in general.
And if you go against the plan of the Yama Kings, the Kuei Jin will kill you.
Not the Kuei Jin.
Pretty easy.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
tough
Kuei Jin,
bastards.
the Chinese vampire.
Yeah, not quite as scary as the Banu Hakim, but still pretty freaking scary.
And then we got the seventh generation. You remember that little bit of Jeffrey Epstein mentioned that we did at the start?
Yes.
This is them.
Oh,
And
boy.
behold, yeah, all of Epstein's crimes, that is the seventh generation. I mean, I actually don't need to like explain anything. It's like Epstein Island, like all that shit. That is the seventh generation.
Yeah, so that the same amount of
So,
depravity as we can expect from a worm company.
Yeah, same thing with it turns out that doing legitimate business isn't the only thing Pentex does. They're also in the human trafficking business, where if you have not seen The Sound of Freedom, check that movie out to figure out what the seventh generation and Pentex do together.
Yeah, they basically work with the Setites, I imagine.
Yeah, after all, I take no pride in saying this, that America really is like the number one consumer of cheese pizza, CP in the world.
Jesus Christ.
Feels bad, man.
It's a disgusting place.
And now for the enemies. Who hates Pentex? The Garou. Pretty easy.
Yep.
I don't think I need to explain that.
No, we're already...
I do.
Okay. Well, please explain it for us, Ryan.
Oh, I was just saying I do. I hate Pentex.
Oh, I thought you were trying to explain as to why the Garou hate Pentex.
No. I wouldn't know that. It's worms.
This guy. Yeah, this guy's get Fenris brain. That's why the Shadow Lords like him so much, is because he says the right thing at the right time.
Large, brilliant get a Fenris mind. Of an Arun, no less. We're happy
Just
to
wanna
have you,
say-
Grim.
My mind is more like get a Fenris today because there's nothing going through it. I've had a long week.
Yeah.
It'll freight train going through. All right.
All right, let's
We're
go some worm.
happy here. All right, other shapeshifters. So any of the other pharaoh breeds, maybe you shouldn't have killed all of them during the War of Rage because you would have had more allies to fight Pentex today.
Yeah, I didn't think that through now, did they?
Why are the Uktena and Children of Gaia the only two tribes that can plan ahead?
Because the rest of them are run by Arun and are only concerned with killing things?
Yeah, the Shallows are doing better today than they were before, but it took them 10,000 years for them to finally become competent.
Well, at least they eventually did, unlike the Silverfangs, which were never competent.
Other enemy, mages. From the traditions, and the technocracy, depending on the technocrat in question. Where, yeah, a lot of the toys that Pentex has to play with, they have stolen from the technocracy, but at the same time, the technocrats don't want them going too far ahead because, as we know, the technocrats are of the Weaver. So once you start getting in the way of the Weaver plan, you start going against the Weaver plan. Behold, the men in black have come after you with their ray guns and immediately destroy everyone within a company. And then all public record of that company ever existing is gone. Play Metal Gear Solid 2 if you want to see that in action.
Motherfucker played MGS2, thought the Patriots were the good guys.
Yeah, and I still swear to you that's one of the best games ever made. You highly disagree with me on that.
I just hate it mechanically. Like, I'm sure the story's brilliant, but
And
I can't fucking get through it.
as for the traditions, yet none of the 9 traditions want to sell their souls to the devil, so it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And you have a vampire friend in Clan Giovanni. As we discussed earlier. So we have brought Marlon Brando on for this episode.
Get in the way of my business. No.
I have to
Pentex could have
listen
been.
to everything he says
Pentex could have
with
joined
subtitles.
us. They could have been our best friends, but instead they decide to use their fancy boots to trample over myself and my family. And I don't like being stepped on. So sadly, Pentex needs to go.
Well, I've given my family over to my son Michael,
Yes.
who will bring the great
Look at how they massacred my boy.
to the Giovanni.
I see. Now I'm thinking about like the fucking the illustration of like the Orson Welles wine commercial, but it's Baja Blast instead, and he's like, Baja Blast, fermented in a plastic bottle, and like, oh, the finest soft drinks is Taco Bell exclusive.
That is a worm company right there. Oh my god, the last time I ate Taco Bell, it tasted like shit. Ugh.
Taco Bell is just a gateway drug for more Taco Bell.
And I don't know. Jury's out as to whether or not Clan Giovanni being against Pentex would include the Cappadocians, the Harbingers of Skulls, the Samedi, and the Nagaraja. I don't have an answer to that because Justin Chile refuses to answer that question.
Of course he does.
And I don't want to ask it to him because there's no way I'm going to be able to talk to that man without insulting him to his face.
Yeah, I mean, we technically already did in the 5e video, but I doubt he's seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I didn't look him in the eye when I was doing that.
True, true.
I mean, he probably is the guy that looks up his own name.
More than likely, yes.
And we have run out of information in Book of the Worm. So now we can get on to the subsidiaries.
There's a lot. There's a fucking
Ryan,
lot.
do you want to go first? Or do you want Kyle to go first?
Kyle can go first.
All
I'm
right.
still reading through the pages.
We're doing a lot of information. Just get some info on Endron. We might not make it to Magadon within the span of this episode.
Okay, so if that is the case, I'm going to start with the one with probably the funniest picture that I've ever seen from the World of Darkness, wherever the fuck it may be. There it is, the good old King Brewery. And I want to read the first part of this verbatim, just because I kind of like how he's characterized in this. What?
I know what picture you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you sent it to me because it's indicative of everything this company is. I'll put it back in.
Can we go through each?
You're gonna have to post
Let's
it.
go through each
Yeah, I'll
part,
post it in history pages. I accidentally opened my browser. I gotta close that.
Let's go through it like one at a time. It's like from corner to corner, just all the stuff going wrong.
Yeah, so you see, you got this chick here. There's two footballs on fire. I think it's supposed to be like Colorado State or something like that. You got the dude throwing up on a chick's lap, like just profusely. The guy literally pouring throw up out of the can into his mouth. You've got the chick putting, I think that is, she's roofieing her own beverage. And a one dude here with the giant tooth gap just punching this nerd in the face that has a medical book and calculus on it. That's
Behold, this is what Barbie Land would look like if King won.
Yes. And honestly, the world would have been better for it.
All I'm seeing is a piano party.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I've really been good enough. Okay, I'm going to read this first part. I like that song. Okay, here's the here's like the intro to the book. I wanted to read this just because I really liked it. The man was tall, rangy, and handsome, in a weather-beaten sort of way. His hair had gone iron gray at the temples, and he wore jeans and a muted flannel shirt. He strode onto the scene with a long, easy stride, and then turned to face the camera with a pleasant smile. Hello, I'm Jeremy King, president of King Breweries, and I'm here to talk to you about something very important to all of us: clean water. King put one booted foot on top of a boulder and assumed a serious expression. Clean water is what gives our beers their special crisp flavor. We wouldn't dream of brewing a single bottle of King without making sure that we used the purest. Hang on, it's hard to read this because I gotta zoom in a little bit on one of them.
Cut. Another take.
It's really hard to. I'm gonna put this up on the larger monitor so I can see it better.
I imagine you're King like trying to do the commercial.
I mean, that's what the thing is him shooting a commercial. All right.
Got like the whole ukulele music in the background.
We wouldn't dream of brewing a single bottle of King without making sure that we use the purest ingredients possible, and that means starting with fresh, clean mountain water. My great-great-grandfather was on the expedition that founded the headwaters of this river, and my family has been drawing its cool, clear waters to make the finest beers ever since. That's why we here at King are so concerned about keeping our nation's waterways as clean and as pure as possible. We know what clean water means to us, and we know what it means to you. That's why King has formed the AquaClear 2001 Foundation, a charity dedicated to cleaning up our Jesus on a crutch. What the hell is that smell? Red-faced and furious, King turned to see who had spoken. The culprit was the cameraman, whose face had adopted an expression of utter disgust. A cool breeze off the water wafted over the filming area, and various members of the crew seemed to be variously disgusted by the scent on the breeze. King, however, seemed unaffected. "It's okay, Jeremy," said the commercial's director, a round-faced little man wearing a blue windbreaker and jeans. The first day on the set, the director had learned that Jeremy really liked all of his employees, even the short-timers, to act and dress according to the King's tradition. That meant jeans, boots, and an absolute adherence to the King's whims. We can take that out and edit and pick up from where we left off. It's all right, really. Left unsaid, of course, was the fact that whatever was in the water smelled like a three-week-old carcass left on the side of the road. King spat once in the river. "You better be able to fix that and edit, 'cause I'm not doing another take. If you can't, that's the last King commercial you shoot, period. And get that asshole behind the camera off the set, now. If he's on payroll, I want him transferred to janitorial. If he's not, throwing him off site. And charge him for the time we wasted because he couldn't take a little fresh air, the penny waste." "Of course, Jeremy," the director agreed. "Whatever you say," and he scurried off to do Jeremy King's bidding. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to King Breweries and Distilleries. So, this company here... What's up?
Is clearly based off of... Ryan, would you like to take a guess? Would you like to take a wild guess as to what these guys might be based off of? Just a wild guess. These guys have King in their name, and they're a brewery,
And they make beer.
and it's
American beer.
and they make beer associated with a
What
party
kind of beer
crowd.
has King in their name?
The king of beers.
I have one right. Budweiser.
Oh, Budweiser.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Which is funny, I actually drank a Miller Lite before this show, just to stick it to him. Okay. So,
I'm
King...
trying one of these before we record. Oh, sorry, I'm cutting you off again.
That's
I
okay.
digress.
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually like
try-
Bud Light.
I tried a Budweiser before we started this episode just to remember what it was like. It's bitter as hell when you first try it, but like eventually like a fruity taste comes in. Like
Weird.
like a very like faint fruity taste comes in.
See, I always liked Bud Light. It was a little bit more fuller bodied than like a Miller. Miller's very crisp, but has a very distinct flavor. Bud Light it sort of feels a bit more well-rounded. It's almost like Foster's is definitely better as far as just a regular ass lager goes, but Bud Light ain't bad. Okay, so King Breweries. It's sort of a hodgepodge of 7 different corporations ranging in size and have grown to be the 4th largest beer producer within the United States. They've of their numerous different brands, they have King Spirits, which is their brand of hard liquor and whiskey. Ruskaya Distilleries, which bottles and distributes generic vodka. Dragon Valley Vineyards, which is a highly competitive California wine company based in Napa Valley. King Imports, which distributes European, Asian, and Caribbean beers domestically. Thaw Beverages, which sells seltzers, tonics, and mixers. And Tentacle Ales, which is a microbrewery recently procured by King in order to remain competitive in the newly encroaching microbrewery market. Their mission statement, first and foremost, is to just be profitable, with Pentex's 8% margin. If that is not strictly adhered to, then heads roll, and sometimes literally. Most working there don't actually know what's going on. They go there, they work their jobs, they try not to complain too much, and God help them if corporate shows up for a surprise inspection. And they also get a free 6-pack every week, which some people don't accept because they know how the beer's made. Others do, and those are usually the ones that stay there as lifetime employees, don't complain, and are just happy to have a job. On the corporate side...
Late-stage alcoholics.
Yes. On the corporate side of things, King Corporate basically does fuck all except decide which of their subsidiaries keep running. They consist of a small executive staff with an immense travel budget and secretarial and legal apparatus in order to keep every little bit and piece running. Corporate is fond of surprise inspections, going over and making sure that the liquor flows no matter what. They address any complaints either by vicious restructuring or constantly revolving management, constantly firing employees that try to stand up to anything that corporate might say. They keep an iron grip on each and every part of their company. The hideous truth about this is that the King family controls this brewing empire. They're a long-time family business, mostly ran by the male members. Women, due to their family's deep-seated misogyny, are strongly discouraged from joining the business. And at the head of the company is, of course, our boy, Jeremy King, as head of the company. To tell you about Jeremy King has always seemed, as I was reading this, always seemed to me like a sort of Vince McMahon or Senator Armstrong type. He's
a bigot.
He really is. He's grew up in a lap of luxury, as his father had owned the brewery far before him, and attended private schools, went on fancy vacations, basically lived it up. However, his father, Dexter, felt as if that his son wasn't really learning the value of hard work, and at the age of 15, had him work every single summer as a regular brewer at the brewery. And this made Jeremy grow incredibly resentful of his old man. Went back to attend Dartmouth University and graduated with a 4.0 GPA. This guy is smart. He really knows his stuff. And when
he's very good at cheating.
Yes, that more than likely the latter, now that I think about it. However, his father was still unconvinced that he truly earned the position and held on to the throne of King Breweries with an iron fist. In order to try and do something about it, Jeremy was the one who originally brokered the deal with Pentex in order to install him as the head of the company. Dexter objected to the deal, but Pentex helped get rid of him by giving him some sort of incredibly debilitating lung disease. Dexter knows that Jeremy had something to do with it, but really can't do anything because of how weak he's grown. Jeremy, in order to maintain his position as king of the brewery, surrounds himself with a fanatical family to protect him. A number of cousins and close relatives, husbands of the girls of the king family, in order to make sure that his position is entirely tenable. He's a very outdoorsy gentleman, but seems to like money more, and also used to play college ball, He's a very imposing man, standing at about 6 feet and around about 200 pounds. He's a big guy and could probably, actually win in a fight. Probably not against a Garrow, but he could probably throw down if need be.
Yeah, against one of those like scrawny itty bitty mages with their little magic wands, he'll snap the one in two, put it in his mouth, chew it, spit the splinters of it in your face, and then cave your face in.
Basically, yes.
Punching the splinters deeper into your skull.
Interesting note is about Jeremy's father, Dexter King. Dexter is the only man who could ever hope to stop Jeremy, and he clings on to his life despite his quickly deteriorating health, simply out of either spite for his son or his son's own, sadism of watching his father slowly deteriorate. And he knows everything that his son is doing. He knows about Pentex. He knows about the Fomori. He knows about the Banes that he's putting in the brews. But despite this all, he is still a very bitter and unpleasant, probably racist and sexist individual as well. But the Garrow might actually need him. If the Garrow can find a way to cure his afflictions in his lungs and get him to regain control of the company, he might actually be able to tear down the Pentex involvement of King from the inside. Moving over the rest of his family, there is What's up?
You ain't call it glasswork on that one.
Oh, yeah. Moving on from that, there is David. There is the younger, more reserved brother. He fears and he envies Jeremy. He has been positioned as the chief operating officer of King Breweries. And while Jeremy is the king of King Breweries, David is the sheriff of Nottingham that always keeps the rest of the subsidiaries in line. He goes in. He is the voice of doom to any of the distilleries and breweries that he visits. He is the one who authorizes the brutal restructurings, the shifts in management, the morale-crushing layoffs. He lays down the law. Moving on from that is Jeremy's cousin Lewis, who is basically Jeremy's puppy. And Lewis is obsessed with trying to be everything that Jeremy can be. He even got surgery to cut his jawline and to shave off the bridge of his nose to look more like Jeremy. However, Louis, for the time being, acts as Jeremy's legal counsel. He is an absolute terror in the courtroom. He rarely ever wins, but he signs off on ludicrous settlements or morass appeals again and again and again, eventually wearing down the nerve of the prosecution until nothing is left. Apart from that, one of the folks who were kings by marriage is Jan Taper. Jan Taper has been eyeing up Jeremy's position for the better part of a few years since he married into the family. He is the head of the inspection team, and in doing so, has managed to build up a number of allies within middle management and corporate, hoping to start a coup to seize control of the company. Jeremy isn't necessarily worried about him, but he honestly should be. Jan Taper is a lot sharper than he lets on. But the thing is, why do they carry on being this absolutely ruthless, tyrannical company that mistreats their employees, lays people off vociferously, and constantly fucks around with middle management? And the key to that is arrogance. They want to control the entire beer industry, and they felt that throwing in with Pentex was their ticket to domination. They're a pragmatic bunch, the King family, and they know exactly the right flavor of corruption to introduce to each little subsidiary of their company in order to make sure that they try and phase out the competition as much as humanly possible. Moving on from that, we have the brands. We start with the biggest one, King Breweries. They are the largest of the brands. They were founded in 1884 by Arthur King, who was a British immigrant who began his brewing in Colorado. He moved there realizing that he had a whole bunch of clean water, a little bit of money for seed planting, and a lot of thirsty neighbors. And so he eventually slowly brought his small little local operation into a massive empire. The hideous truth about King Breweries is that one might think that there's a Bane in every bottle, which is untrue. There's a little bit. A 6-pack alone won't bane you automatically, but they make your hangovers just a little bit worse. They make the beer taste a little bit better. They get you drunk a little bit faster, and they're just a bit cheaper than everybody else, so why not drink one? And therefore, the bane comes in tiny increments over the course of someone's journey into alcoholic depravity. So the more king you drink, the more likely you are to get baned. It's just a fact of how it goes. As the brewery itself, it squats beside the Blue River in Colorado, polluting the shit out of it with whatever byproducts come out of the wort. That being the fermented wheat, that being the soaked hops, that being all of the overcarbonated water that would kill the oxygen. Within this brewery, there are 9,000 employees, and it is extremely heavily guarded. Security is tight at pretty much all times because this is their crown jewel. They cannot afford to lose King Breweries. This also includes their corporate office, which composes a sales team. They are commission-based with bonuses for the amount of product moved. The sales team is usually exclusively male, and the one female that was eventually hired to the sales team had a stack of complaints sent to HR a mile long, and afterwards took a leave of absence and probably will not return. The sales team are absolutely ruthless, not just to the competition, but also to each other. Sales reps are liable to poach each other's accounts, orders are routinely sabotaged or short-shipped, faxes are stolen, contacts are pillaged, and they basically will undercut each other in order to make their sales look better. They offer huge discounts to every retailer that they contact in order to overfill shelf space as much as possible. And they sell more beer to make up in the volume of beers actually sold. The point of this is to go against other large brewers like Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, Miller. And the reason that they do this is they figure if they sell at such a cheap price that they have to allocate more shelf space to King Breweries, that there just won't be enough room to stock Budweiser products or Miller Lite products. And that has been their strategy for the better part of 20 to 30 years. As for the change in distributors themselves, they undercut the competition severely. They have no choice but to sign on. There's a very slim profit margin selling cheap beer, but they can squeeze out other brands, as I said before. And recently, they've been making a hard push into American family restaurants that all have the same variety of beer-battered onion rings. The truth of it, bleed everybody else drive. They want to be a nuisance to other companies, so they vastly overspend on marketing, to the point in which they blow all of their resources marketing and they can't effectively push product onto shelves anymore. As for the target markets, they usually go for parties, as shown by the picture here in Colorado State. They follow what is known as the King's Law of partying, and they constantly market to college-aged beer drinkers. And they specifically hire people to go to fraternity houses, to go to parties, and to teach young college students how to play drinking games. Like, beer pong is the preferred game of choice on college campuses. Therefore, they introduce King Breweries as the beer to drink. So, and, the more they drink, the more classes they miss. The more classes they miss, the more time they spend sitting on the couch knocking back a cold bottle of King. And they even have the Oktoberfest line, which is introduced every September, right at the start of college season. They are committed to ruining college kids' lives. What's up?
Ruining your life. This is you. You are the target demographic of this company.
Exactly.
Which is why you chose it.
Yes, that's exactly why I chose to talk about King Breweries. Even though I'm already graduated, I still drank. Politics. King Breweries actually spends heavily on funding political campaigns, usually banking on far-right or nationalist candidates, a lot of which work under the idea that if the end of the world is coming, use every natural resource at your disposal, which works great for the vision of King. However, they still need to cover their bases when it comes to the liberal side of things, which comes to their environmental policy. As stated before in the little manuscript, they founded a nonprofit organization known as AquaClear 2001, and they relentlessly take up ad space on TV and in print to trumpet the virtues of clean water. Of course, they have an overhead of 85% for honoraria and travel expenses, which really don't do anything. The employees of AquaClear 2001 usually have a terribly high turnover rate and terrible pay. It is an absolute sham just to make King look good. However, they do try to maintain just a small staff of incredibly devoted fanatical environmentalists just to look good to the to liberal politicians looking to indict them. And usually those...
I gotta ask you.
What's that?
I gotta ask you with that.
Yes.
With you saying that they're hiring environmentalists to do some PR campaigns for their company to appear benevolent, would you say that if you were to put King in your game in the late 2010s, our current year, would they start doing what Anheuser-Busch and Miller are doing today? They have switched switched parties.
More than likely, yeah. I don't know. King Breweries they would probably see the fallout of Budweiser and then double down. But of course, like
they would instead they would say that we're the anti-woke beer. And
more than likely, that's the kind of person Jeremy strikes me as, given how misogynist they are.
The big American Eagle flag flying party, like playing a chicken fry in the background, that kind of horseshit commercial.
Or American Badass by Kid Rock. Driving a lifted Ford to the bonfire, cracking open a 30 rack of Kings, grabbing a cute girl by the waist and spinning her around.
Drink King Brews.
Yes. Oh my God. Toby Keith's playing in the background. Shit like that. Oh, yeah, this company's a fucking mess. The truth is that, as I said before, King Breweries just dumps raw fucking sewage into the water. It would take 10 constant years of cleanup to make that water anywhere near safe enough for a local ecosystem to be repaired. However,
that's not the only thing they're dumping in water.
What's that?
I'll get to it later.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. The issue is, while a lot of people would love to indict them on the environmental damage that they actually caused, the problem is they make too much money. It is one of the largest employers in Colorado and is the root of the state's economy for that reason. Therefore, it makes it incredibly difficult for any local politician to try and gain support in attempting to take down King for their environmental damage, because, you know, people would want to protect their paycheck as much as humanly possible. So they really can't do anything about that as far as that goes. And moving on to that, we're going to talk about the smaller firms. First, we have King Spirits. They're the liquor branch, also based in Colorado, that make rail whiskey, rail gin, etc., etc. They are low price points for harsh liquor and are usually, I feel like this is such a fuck you number, but it's 40% cheaper than most other liquors. I feel like that has to do with the average ABL of whiskey being 40%. In truth, it's actually a laboratory. They test out all of their new products at King Spirits, and if it works there, it'll work anywhere. Banes are put into singular batches and observed for their behavior. King has seemed to have do the impossible with this by turning research into profit. The personnel for this, Adam Rosier is the manager of the building, and he is one of the kings by marriage, much like Jan is. His wife, however, runs the plant by proxy. Adam Rosier is a very pliable but brilliant individual who's incredibly skilled with chemistry but knows nothing about management, which is why his wife has sort of been running the company as a proxy through him. Moving on from that, we have their import. What's up?
Would you say that this liquor I posted in history pages is of the worm?
We shall see. Oh wait, shit. Get that out of there.
It'll be a surprise.
Hang on.
Guess what it is?
I will find out. Oh, absolutely, 100%. No, Fireball absolutely is a worm liquor.
With all like the high sugary syrup they just dump into this.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
I could feel it like coating my teeth as I drink it.
Yeah, no, Fireball sucks. Fireball just sucks. If you want a cinnamon whiskey that's decent, fucking oh fuck,
Jack Daniels.
No, not even Jack Daniels. Actually, no, wait. Oh, they don't. Yeah, Jack Daniels Honey or Jack Daniels Fire. Jack Daniels Fire is miles better than Fireball. Also, if you want another good flavored whiskey, Smoky Mountain has a caramel whiskey that's actually very good. Their amaretto is pretty good as well. Okay, so
you see, Ryan, as we know from the Barbie movie, once you get Kyle mansplaining on something, I found his mansplaining tick. This is how you control his mind.
Yes, it's liquor.
Barbie while he's not looking.
I did a lot of mansplaining to John whenever we walked into a liquor store because I'm a bit of a.
We were from the Showers episode.
Whenever I'm a beer snob, I just go full beer snob, and we'll get to that in this video. Moving on from that is the King Import Company. It is based in Norwalk, Connecticut. It brings the mission statement is to bring the world's finest beers to the U.S. from Ireland, Jamaica, China, and Africa. In doing so, they tried to directly combat Guinness and Hart Brewing. They did this by strictly importing and arranging exclusivity that only allow King breweries to import. They also offer license of exclusivity and the rights to produce their beer in their domestic King Brewery plant. They're usually nowadays run out of New York and San Diego, where other Pentex distributors are, in order to help them. And the truth of this is that they import beer very profitably, but they also import banned chemicals against international regulation, live animal and plant specimens, and even staked vampires and monstrous worm eggs. They use
I got an idea.
What's that?
You just gave me a brain blast with that one.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about that in a later segment.
Yeah, they use that as a front in order to get, all of their wormish equipment from overseas. The personnel involved in this is Julia Lindell. She isn't quite human. Matter of fact, she is a corrupted Korax with a unique talent for finding secrets. She can bring in new beers from all over the world and even artifacts seemingly lost to the ages. She is a zero tolerance for slackers and will make sure that everything runs smoothly. Her second in command is a shipping manager known as Carl Baylor, who is a wizard of doctoring invoices in order to make sure everything gets through customs without a hitch. And he is personally loyal to Lindell. Basically, if you want something smuggled into the country, King Imports is the way to go. From that, we have... This one actually is the one that freaked me out the worst. Ruskaya Distilleries. If it's domestic vodka, it's used for cleaning battery terminals. They're founded in the small town of Somerville, Massachusetts, in a nondescript black building that has been there since the Prohibition ended. All they really do is produce really strong and cheap booze, and because of this became a bottler for other companies. Because of their broad distribution and relative anonymity, they sort of get everywhere unnoticed. Basically, when King Imports manages to get a new spirit involved, it's Ruskaya Distilleries who does the bottling and distribution for them. The truth is, Ruskaya Distilleries is an ace in the hole. They are a card waiting to be played. They gather up more and more brands to produce the bottles for their company until they're on every single shelf. And then corporate just pulls up and puts something extra in there, and next thing you know, you have a Bane epidemic. This is their Gehenna card right here. If Roskaya Distilleries grows to a point in which they can populate every shelf of every liquor store, you are looking for a nightmare for the Garrow. They're going to have to deal with Banes just out the wazoo, and it'll be an overwhelming attack. The personnel for this company, it is relatively small at only 220 employees. However, because of its operation since the Prohibition, it has never been updated since then. It is terribly unsafe, poorly maintained, an absolute mess of a plant. Ruptures in the pipes are frequent. It's easy for people to get lost in the labyrinthine network of pipes. It's easy for people to get burned, and even for people to, just fall into vats and drown. It is a nightmare of working conditions. The sales director of this place is a man of Russian descent named Mikhail Shari. He is a superb salesman, and he makes sure that their vodka is on everyone else's labels. People sort of wonder about him sometimes, but for the most part, he just seems to do a good job at selling things. And then we find the weak link, Thaw Beverages. They are getting absolutely dominated by other seltzer companies like Canada Dry, Schweppes, and Seagram's. And they've been losing market share for the better part of 6 years. Corporate should have killed it already, and they are still on the chopping block. They were originally started...
They should have killed it already.
Yeah, they originally...
Fucking seltzer, dude.
Yeah, it sucks. They were originally started by King Breweries in 1979 in order to jump onto the diet soda craze by selling club soda and tonic water. And after a rally from Schweppes, Seagram's, and Canada Dry, they have been hanging by a thread. But as of right now, the truth of that is that they have began to hypercarbonate their beverages. Most of the people at Thaw don't know what's going on. They just think that's their selling point, an extra sparkly beverage. As it turns out, hypercarbonated Banes are activated when they're exposed to it. Thaw's competitors have experienced a rout of industrial sabotage, and they're going to have to get serious when it comes to instilling their Banes if they want to survive. The personnel, it's piloted by a man named Jeff Fleiter with a very bad case of worms. He is constantly abused by corporate and therefore takes it out on his employees. He works in a tense, poisonous environment with the absolute bottom of the barrel employees who are completely unhireable to anyone else. Fleiter was an all-right person 15 years ago, but the constant abuse from King Corporate has left him with a bad case of the worms. If you want to know what I'm talking about, take a look at the Freak Legion comic. The poor gentleman in that comic shows you exactly what we mean by the worms. You can even see it in this
graphic content warning.
You can even see it in this comic here. You can see the absolute slurry that is coming out of them. That is what worm corruption looks like. It's they start just festering in your stomach and you start throwing them up. It's disgusting. We are almost done. We've got a couple more things to go over, and then I'm going to hand it over to Ryan, who's going to do his company. I got a question for him too, but... Yeah, next we have Dragon Valley Vineyards. Like I said before, they were based in Napa Valley, and they were hyper-competitive, and because of this, Pentex money came flooding in through King's acquisition of them. And now they work as a sort of mid-range domestic wine that has managed to break through the tight distribution network and compete with the likes of brands like Fetzer, Kendall Jackson, and Robert Mondavi. However, they've tried to start exploring a lower-end market, not necessarily box wine, but perhaps canned wine beverages that are higher in sugar for the more entry-level wine drinkers. In truth, it's not the wine, it's not just the grapes. The vines themselves are a bane. The vines themselves grow these sharp-edged seeds, and they will spread out across a vineyard to strangle any other vine they find in the field. The grapes are unusually large and sugary with a huge blood-red sheen to them. And they begin to encourage unrestrained growth in humans, to the point in which it is found that a number of people that regularly drink Dragon Valley wines wind up with forms of stomach and liver cancer. The company itself was founded by a man named Earl Whedon. However, the odd thing about him is that the vines have sort of grown into him through his feet. They control him, they control the vintage, and even as he walks, you can sort of hear the vines curling around within him. The vines speak to him. He has been taken control by an earthly bane. Moving on from that, one that now is the part that attacks me personally. As the resident beer snob, Tentacle Breweries. This was a recent experiment for King as their first step into the microbrew market. This has been an area of concern for corporate breweries for a while. It started to erode their plans to bleed the big guys like Miller and Anheuser-Busch dry. And instead, they realize there isn't a point in bleeding them dry if they're going to lose that same market share to Sammy Adams. So as for operation, the brewery itself was originally founded by Willem Tentacle from New Amsterdam, who had fled Rotterdam to the Hudson Valley and started work as a brewer. And it's basically been a brewery since the myth of Rip Van Winkle. Just because it's old, though, doesn't necessarily mean it's good. And a little known fact about Willem Tentacle: he wasn't just a brewer; he was also an alchemist, making a number of different potions and even poisons. And those poisons are being used in other Pentex firms to this day. Currently,
Hermetic.
Yes, he is a hermetic. Currently, they operate out of West Warwick, Rhode Island, with a very small staff of 14 people. King handles the marketing and distribution, but they try to keep it local and let word of mouth do the work in order to compete. The truth is, they are marketing to beer snobs specifically, and they have quiet voiceovers read to be descended from Willem Tentacle himself in order to make it seem like it's a really important and exclusive brewery. The whole truth of it is to try and elevate taste, to play into the egotism of the hipster beer snob market. And even the banes put inside their brews are made to make people more arrogant as a result of consuming. The personnel, the owner behind this operation is Quebecois by the name of Alphonse Michaud. He left Quebec in 1992 after being a domestic terrorist for the Free Quebec movement. Michaud, however, doesn't really care that he's become a shill for King, because all he cares about is his brewery. He's been promised big things from corporate and is very protective of his beer. He's not quite a Famori yet, but he is well on his way. His right-hand man is a brewmaster by the name of Joe Estee. He is a mile-wide sadist who might have killed animals and maybe even his own coworkers and put them into batches of beer. He is just as protective, even more so to a psychotic degree, of protecting his own brews. And that is the entire spread of what King Breweries does. They make cheap beer. They are ruthlessly competitive even to each other, and they will ruin lives for profit. So what do? You can't fight a bottle, and they're too heavily guarded to be rated directly. The best way to go about it would be to use AquaClear, or even try and dig into their newer companies like Tentacle and Dragon Vin. See, AquaClear, if you get yourself a committed ragabash to go to AquaClear, say like a Deus Ultimae, who discovers a way to unpollute the river in half the time, and then actually follow through in doing it under the guise of being a successful AquaClear member, then that would be a huge thorn in Jeremy King's side. And then that would allow you to be able to confront him directly. As for Tentacle, you might be able to get away with a direct assault, either going in and taking out Michaud or Estee personally. Same thing with Earl Wheaton. If you take out the head of the operation, you really can't. This isn't like a. What's the mythical creature with the heads? Hydra. That's it. This isn't really like a Hydra situation because, as you can see, a lot of the people in this company are really essential to its functioning. And that means if you cut off the head, there really isn't one to replace him. Not one that'll carry the same amount of weight that some of the other members of King Breweries would carry. And that would eventually lead to just the company having to restructure so many times, turnover even higher to the point in which it'd just be completely unsustainable. As it always goes, the worm giveth, and the worm taketh away. And what the worm doesn't take away, the Garrow most certainly will.
So, Grim, do you have any ideas as to how to solve Tatler's King Breweries problem? We got the Fenris Ryan, you made it.
I found that out. So I've been thinking about this for a while since we started, and prohibition sounds like a great cause.
What?
I'm going to break your fucking nose.
And all the booze just be owned by the Fenris.
Yeah, exactly.
Take your cairns.
I'll beg your fucking pardon. Who has the gift brew?
You see, alcohol is no good in the hands of the Fianna. It's just gonna go to waste.
I'm sorry, we make the best fucking liquor in all the Garra Nation. You better watch your fucking mouth, get.
You see, Grim needs it more because he needs to go into a berserk state in combat.
You're literally a fucking dog.
When he's drunk.
You're quite literally a dog. You are my service dog in the bar. I don't want to hear it.
It's fine. Dogs drink all the time, right?
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Now, I want to bring up a segment here. How to use King Breweries in your game. Kyle, behold history pages.
History pages. Okay.
Yeah, Frederick Knudson's whole video on the Austrian wine poisoning. Yeah, that's the entire chronicle pre-written for you, and that was real.
King has themselves
Check out this video, by the way; it's really good.
Yeah, King has themselves a little tasting tour. Oh well, a little bit of poison might help in that. Not a bane, but
Let's
you
just
know.
Let's just fill our wine with antifreeze that will cause your liver to die if you don't develop cancer first. And just kill off our customers.
Yeah. And then, they can't ignore the legal hassle from that. A whole bunch of people get fired and the company collapses in on itself.
Grant, this is why Pentex never survives any scenario in Apocalypse. Every company goes bankrupt in that book.
Well, because they always constantly eat away at each other.
It's the minute you lose all your money and your customers, you have no worm cult.
Yeah, basically, and that's what the worm kind of sort of wants.
Oh, here's a fun thought. I was looking through stuff as to what this company's clearly based off of Anheuser-Busch and any sort of unethical practices they've done. Besides some marketing fraud, they haven't done anything they're super guilty of. But like Magadon, if they were to do something actively malicious that would hurt a shitload of people, they've already watered down a lot of the recipes where, thanks to the fucking FDA being a useless piece of shit branch of the government, there is a 20% margin for error when it comes to any of their measurements. So they can literally just say anything on a package. That little nutrition label, you look at your food, that is worthless.
Yeah,
that might as well just be like wasted space in their packaging. It says there's 300 milligrams of sodium in one serving. Fuck it, that number can be anything.
Yeah, just add about 20%.
And after all, here's a little fun thought for you. A friend of the channel, and I think our channel says that we're publicly subscribed to him, the Champion Within. Me and him had a conversation before we filmed this episode, and he told me about Philip Morris, where they intentionally tried to make their cigarettes more addictive. And when they got caught for that, they bought Kraft, the mac and cheese company, and then immediately used all the research they did for their cigarettes on Kraft mac and cheese to make their products more addictive.
See,
You can do the same with King.
that's kind of funny because I actually stopped eating Kraft mac and cheese when I was like 6 because I couldn't stand the taste anymore.
You escaped it. You escaped the worm.
Yeah, I quite literally just was like, you know what? I don't want to eat this anymore. And my mom was baffled.
But
Which,
all those alchemists that they've hired, get them working on how to make beer more addictive. And behold, there's another chronicle right there.
yep. And then the amount of drunk driving accidents increases exponentially. Because let me tell you,
And
it's not the drunk drivers that's the issue. It's the drunk crashers that are causing the problems.
And here's a fun thought from our vampire game. If we were to make Tabitha one of the villains, that was Meepian's vampire character when we played vampire,
Hmm?
if she wanted to have a party and she wanted all eyes on her because she just needed to be the center of attention, she could call King Breweries and say, "Here's a gallon of my blood. I want you to mix this into the kegs." And they say, "Sounds great. We love worm corruption." And behold, you have people at a party drinking from a keg that's got Toreador vampire blood in it. She doesn't even need to use presents. Everyone at that party has turned into her ghoul. That, because she was the Osiris type, is now free range for her to feed off of.
Yeah, that's a scary thought right there.
Yeah, this would actually play very well into the hands of the Sabbat and the Camarilla. Because if you need to start getting yourself more ghouls, or if you're looking for a prospective new vampire to sire, just team up with King Breweries, and behold, you now have a long list of applicants. You may eliminate them at your own discretion.
Yeah, it is just a massive way to control people, and like as I'll talk about it more when I do Tellus, but control is really part of the name of the game here.
And it really is control because they do pollute the environment, but this is one of the weaker of the big six companies. Black Dog is at the absolute weakest, but this is number 5 in terms of environmental damage. And you can see why it's that they're more interested in economics than they are in environmental destruction.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about a company that is directly involved in destroying the world. Grim.
Yes.
Would you like to do Endron or Magadon?
I've done the most research on Endron.
You mind if
Would you
you got
would you like
a
to
title
guess?
card for me, please?
Yeah, I got a title card for you. So take a wild guess as to who these guys are based off of.
I would not know.
Enron?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're truly based off of Enron. Oh, what? That's not their logo. I don't know how that got there.
Oh, do you want me to just? Yeah, yeah. That's them. Yeah, this is the company we're talking about, guys.
All right, so to fill you in on the history lesson that anyone else can tell you better than I can, this was a piece of shit energy company that was guilty of a massive corporate fraud, where they just said we have money and profit coming out of nowhere, and we're making money forever. Our stock is growing in size. Don't ask us how we're making this money. We're just doing well forever. And we don't just please ignore all the shell companies, all the power outages, all the high cost we're charging our customers. Eventually, everybody who was a shareholder realized that this was a useless piece of shit company. Everyone pulled out their stock, and Enron had a massive crash. And this is a company that deserved its death. Do not cry for Enron. Enron.
What I've read, yeah, don't.
Yeah, it's a fucking
So,
bullshit company.
at first, first thing is I want to apologize. This is probably the only episode I haven't done that much research on,
Well,
and
it's
it
pretty
gets
obvious as to what these guys do.
I mean, to be fair, I was up till like 5 in the morning doing research last night, so I
Yeah,
don't
because
blame
you're a
you.
nut when it comes to this.
Yeah, I care. I care about what I do, man.
and about halfway through researching what I was doing, I realized that I was only doing half of what was sent to me.
Don't worry about it. Alistair read this whole book.
I went straight into the energy production and completely bypassed what 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
So
16
when we were
pages.
when we were setting up this episode, I said, "Here's the companies, guys. Take a pick at what you want." You, Ryan, picked the two companies that had the most rating.
Yeah, yep. That sounds like me. That sounds like my day. All right.
We already discussed a little bit of their history, by the way. So everything I said about premium oil, Ryan, you know about the Rockefellers, right? So
Uh, I'm gonna say no.
you like Standard Oil, this like John D. Rockefeller starting up Standard Oil, where he was this pretty much started the concept of the monopoly, the mega corporation.
Yep.
And because of him, all these different antitrust laws had to come into effect.
Vertical integration,
So
baby.
yeah, so it's essentially like an evil version of him created this company.
I gotcha. Uh, when it comes to stuff like this, I am so far out of the loop. Um, that
American
it's
History and Corruption.
yeah. So
Uh, well, tell us what you got.
it's not a whole lot, and I can mainly talk about the energy production. So like they've got their plants, the nuclear power, um,
I will tell us about
their
that.
alternative energy sources. So we're going to start with their plants. There's not a whole lot on them because it's coal based. Um, since it got out of the coal business decades ago and moved on to other alternatives, they still are using the coal to create pollution into the air. Putting out what do they say? Particulate debris and greenhouse gases. Because the more you
Which Kyle
burn,
can tell you
yeah,
the more you burn, the more you release, and Kyle can tell you about that because he's all into greenhouse gases.
I mean, yeah, it's an adverse effect on the environment. That's warming the ocean, melting polar ice caps, and all that.
Yeah, because me and you went back and forth about climate, like we talked about that before.
Yep.
The hole in the ozone isn't more like a literal hole, it's just like a weak portion of the ozone layer that's specifically above Antarctica because of how air travels.
Yep.
And yeah, you have the Antarctica being pelted with heat. It's not going to result in an ocean level rise because, well, I put when my coffee is done in the morning, I sit because I don't like the taste of hot coffee. I like it cold. And there's more the level in the of liquid in the cup is higher when there's solids in it, and it shrinks as the ice melts. So that always has to be like confused. Like, won't the ocean sink? What if this were to continue? If Antarctica were to melt, I think we're going to end up living in Mad Max. Like, Waterworld isn't going to happen.
I suppose,
But
but it's all theory at this point in time.
yeah, it's just a game theory. Let's get Matt Pat in the room.
Yes.
yeah.
Anyway.
And uh, you know, well, Ryan, I have a question for you, so we can expand
Do
a
it
bit.
up.
I have a question for you on this one. Um, so who loves coal? What country loves coal right now?
Right now, I would have no idea.
China.
They do.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that. You want to know who we're selling all of our coal to? It's China specifically. Like the United States and Europe are giving all their coal to China. We have tons of technology in America where we can help the coal burn cleaner. It's still going to have an emission that's just unavoidable
Yeah.
with our current technology. I mean, I really want to know why we haven't devised a like clean burning coal fuel source because somebody get on that somewhere.
Oh,
But
because
we're selling
burning
it
a
to
fossil
China.
fuel is always going to yield gaseous carbon as a chemical output.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like as close as we can get to having that be like 1%.
It's a block of carbon. When you burn carbon, you're going to get gas. You're going to get carbon gas.
Well, it's thinking more like filtering it, like preventing that from getting to the. Oh, well, our artist is texting me. Okay, I'll have to get back to him on later. But now we're giving it to China, who is not trying to prevent it from destroying the environment at all. So I think we know who Endron's current biggest customer is
Check.
in
Yeah.
lore.
Kinda. I love the
Yes.
picture you sent though. That's pretty indicative.
Yeah, that's like complete bullshit propaganda. Behold, you're protecting BP before it happens.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty wild.
What else you got for us?
Nuclear power. So the
My
thing about
favorite.
nuclear power is, since it's
It explodes.
everyone's getting, yeah, well, they had that too. They have a whole section on meltdowns. Um, while everyone is getting out of the nuclear business, Enron is going in and buying up all that business so they can, uh, and I'm going to use air quotations, can't really see them, but fix them. And what they really do is they'll go in, they'll put in some cosmetics, they'll probably put a plaster, some paint. But if you really look deep into it, it's just they're letting all that stuff deteriorate. Deteriorate. I can't speak today, guys.
It's all good.
We're going to like set up a meltdown on purpose.
Yeah, essentially.
Uh,
The book talked about plants like Concord 1 and 2, where the NCR, I'm going to read this quote for quote, NRC officials estimated the chances of a meltdown at Concord at 24% 2 years ago, and through aggressive neglect, guys,
Jesus.
they've gone up considerably since then. They don't give us a percentage, but it's up there.
So they're trying to just
Coin toss.
they're trying to sabotage nuclear power, even though it has less emission overall. They're trying to just sabotage nuclear power in order to keep fossil fuels as relevant. I imagine.
And that's a fully sustainable energy source too. Like, go nuclear. I'm like full pro nuclear. This is yeah. Once again, I said this is our most political video.
Yeah.
Also, don't set up your plant next to a city where it's going to explode and cause damage. I mean, we've got plenty of places towards the western parts of the United States where you got a perfect spot to build a plant where if it were to melt down, nobody will die.
Well,
Besides the workers who happen
the
to be
only
there at the
thing
moment. But
you really need is like a constant flowing source of cool water. You get that going, and you try and find, and you make sure that maintenance is done routinely, and you're gonna be okay. Germany has had the longest stretch of uninterrupted nuclear power until the Green Party decided to go fuck itself and shut all of it down. And now they're relying on coal again.
Economy.
So why not put a plant up on Mount Everest, the very tippy top?
It's kind of hard to build out
explode
there.
in the atmosphere. Cause an explosion in the atmosphere, resulting in an EMP blast that will knock out all electricity in East Asia.
That'd be kind of rough.
There you go.
It'll be fun.
It reminds me of that nuclear power plant that France built that's like surrounded by Germany on all sides except for like one road into it, and it was like, wow, that is the most dickish move.
Yeah, I wonder why he built this. I wonder why he built this.
They built it like right inside of Germany.
Yeah, you're definitely not butthurt over history.
Better hope I don't neglect this.
Now, here's the thing. You want to know why they're so interested in causing nuclear detonations?
Why?
Because black spiral dancers have a little gift where they can just run right into radioactive waste and just roll around in it and get power from doing that.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. So behold, it is a perfect nest breeding program. We're going to intentionally sabotage this power plant, blow it up, kill countless people by doing that, and then create a perfect hive for a black spiral dancer.
I imagine Chernobyl is probably the largest of their hives.
Yeah, they love Chernobyl. Ryan, you know about Chernobyl, right?
Yes, yeah. We learned about that in school.
Fukushima, Aonuma.
I would also...
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Fukushima was like, there was a giant tsunami that hit Japan, and it knocked out...
Tsunami, earthquake, and meltdown.
Yeah, a tsunami, an earthquake, and then a nuclear meltdown, all within the span of like 12 hours.
That is
which was
one rough day.
Yeah, I remember it
the
happening
worst day
back
of my
in like
life.
I think it was like 2012 that it happened. It had to have been. I think I was
Yeah.
in sixth grade.
Really?
Yeah,
No, it was earlier than that. It was like 2010. No, yeah,
I
2012. I
think
think it was in
2011.
seventh grade, sixth or seventh
I'm
grade. I
saying
was in.
2011.
Yeah, probably then. But
2011.
I would also like to
Interesting.
point out, like, if you want to watch, like, probably one of the best movies showing the effects of nuclear of a nuclear accident, watch the Chernobyl HBO miniseries. It is
I
probably
heard good things
Yeah,
about it.
I've watched it countless times. It is probably one of the best recollections of the Chernobyl accident
the
and the
evils of
cleanup
communism.
process.
It's not a Galliard Group episode if we don't say anything about communism.
That's true. They put that out. Put that on your Galliard bingo cards. The guys talk shit about communism.
Hey,
Get out,
Sorry,
start making
Fox.
that one. He can take it. He's heard this stuff countless times.
That's true. We do talk a whole lot of shit about it. Okay. Anyway, so back to
Alright.
Enron.
so Enron Endron,
Endron.
Yeah,
they
they're very
own
creative on the name.
7 plants, nuclear plants, and they plan to construct 4 new plants in the United States for over a 12-year period.
And then
And they,
those.
yeah, exactly. That would make them the largest provider of nuclear energy in the country.
Which is a
The
mistake.
4 proposed sites is upstream from like major population centers. Like there's one on the Hudson, the Cuyahoga, the Swift, and Allegheny rivers.
Each one is protected by a first team patrol. They're holding Uzis with silver bullets, covered in body armor, with emergency shotguns. And in case they encounter an Arun get a Fenris, known as Grim, they're to immediately turn the last bullet of their magazine under their chin because a death by silver bullet is preferable to a death by Grim.
True.
Yeah, you scared him so bad that you didn't even have to fight him. That must piss you off.
Yes, absolutely. Cowards.
And Ryan, I got something to ask you.
What's up?
When was the last time you went to a gas station and there was a mini mart there?
I go to a gas station that has a mini mart constantly. Got a McDonald's right
that's-
inside of it too.
Nice.
And we have another company that's of the worm, Otali's, which is a demonic version of McDonald's. And that's in the book. Ryan, if you look at, looking at this with you,
Page 29,
I-
they've got mini marts.
yeah, the mini marts there, and they're called
20.
end runs, and they're filled with all this like wormish, shitty food
Oh
that's
yeah.
made to be you're filled up within the 5 minutes of eating it, and then it just shoots right through you. It sits in your intestines. It makes you like breathe in your own farts in your car as you're driving home from work, and it ultimately does nothing for you. Kyle, for him, it's called Wawa. For me, it's called QT. And the last time I went to the for the last time I went to QT, I had one of their taquitos because I was just that hungry after work, and that was a big fucking mistake because it felt like I was just eating water that was sprayed to taste like chicken and corn flour, and I couldn't finish the whole thing. I said, "No, this is disgusting. I don't care if I spent
Hey,
$3 on this. I'm not finishing it."
Don't talk shit about Wawa. They're a Weaver company.
You have an actual
I
kitchen in a Wawa.
Yes.
I don't eat gas station food.
See, I
No.
got into it after working overnights when I worked on a freight team, because like it's the only thing that was open at like 11 at night when I got off.
And don't worry, these guys also have motor oil for your car. The kind that goes black super quickly, immediately runs out of your car, leaks, may or may not have a corrosive element in it that will cause damage to your car. So you can just go right back to the garage and spend more money on it, and then that garage is probably owned by the worm, if not Weaver. And behold, we now have another racket.
We had a garage like that. I had a buddy who worked there,
Where
and he's like, we would take in perfectly good cars, work on them, and then I would test drive them, and they would just be awful. I'm like, God, how did that place stay in business? Makes
scam.
sense.
That's how.
See, this is why I do all of my repairs at home.
And if you look at the same page, Ryan, page 28,
Yep.
high speed, high visibility,
Yeah, NASCAR.
NASCAR.
God damn it, I love NASCAR so much. You just drive around in a goddamn circle drinking your Budweiser, and then all of a sudden there's a big old crash. People go, boom, bang, and all that.
He's got to drink until it's interesting. It's the most boring thing in the world. My grandfather, I love him, but he wants to watch NASCAR with me, and I have to. I try to enjoy it the best I can. I'm not going to tell him to his face that I don't like it, and I don't hate it. Um, it is a sport where I like watching it because he's watching it with me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. It's something I would never watch by myself.
Yeah,
So
what's
it's
up?
yeah,
I work at
it's good to have something to talk about. But yeah, you work at what?
I work at where I work. We have
Mhm.
like a ton of people who race.
Oh
Oh, like they just
gosh.
have cars they race?
Yeah, they go to the tracks and they race. There's actual like speedways that we have over here uh, in Maine and New Hampshire.
I
And
got
it's
I got a
just
buddy of mine that
racist.
does that.
it's a lot.
I mean, they are fun.
Stu.
I'm not huge into racing, but their people are like they're so into it, and it makes me happy for them.
It's a good hobby.
I mean, the only racing I find interesting is drag racing and Irish street racing, which are both illegal. Yeah.
Yeah, the illegal part
It's the
makes it
illegal
fun.
element
The
it's
only
the
type of
illegal
racing,
element that makes it interesting.
the only type of racing I like is racing home to sleep.
Oh, yeah, I
Racing
just
home,
noticed
racing,
in this
racing away,
picture of the dude
from
with
cops.
the dude with the duck. There's like a dead body floating in there. Like there's somebody's hand in front of him. I just noticed that.
And that's the whole thing too with Endron. You remember that South Park episode where they released Cthulhu, and then they had the whole video of them going, "We're sorry, we're sorry."
Sorry.
That's Endron. That's Endron.
Basically, yeah. It didn't like
This-
Cartman and Cthulhu become best friends and then they killed Justin Bieber?
Yeah, exactly. And behold, there's your werewolf game.
If
And
you look
Ron
closer,
going
you can
sorry.
You could see their motor oil in that picture too.
Yeah, floating down the river.
Inside that duck.
Wait, is that river or is that pure oil? I can't tell.
I
Yes.
honestly can't either.
It's now a combination of the two. As would we like to talk about the two faces of Endron?
I have them right here. Dr. Michelle Backman, PhD, and where is it? Robert Smythe.
Yeah.
I can't speak. I haven't made it that far, but I can give it a quick read if you want to go over.
Yeah, go right ahead.
You read Robert Smythe. I'll do Alex Molina.
Gotcha.
Right, so
So-
Alex Molina is the you want to go first or you want me to go first?
No, go ahead. I thought you wanted me to go first, so I was like, okay. No, have
I'll
at it.
do Alex while you do. I'll do Alex while you do a quick read. Alex Molina is the graduate of New Mexico's Institute of Technology. Congrats. And one of the very first students to ever pass through the Endron internship program. We're off to a great start already. So, unfortunately, due to a clerical error, Molina got himself assigned to one of the special units, a half-mile offshore Endron drilling platform, where he was called just in time to see something greenish and disgusting slither its way up the drill of that rig, just in time to possess him.
Oh, wonderful.
Poor bastard, right?
Yep.
So behold, the whole issue with Jeremiah Lasseter, it repeats itself where a poor bastard, well, Melina may or may not have been a good person, we don't know, but they've been possessed by a demon, and now they're dead, and a demon is running the show in their name. And Melina is 35 years old, but because of Bane corruption, the body is 60 years old. You've aged poorly. You gotta tell people you did meth back in college to explain that away.
Yep.
We were running with a whole rough crowd back then.
Those damn
You get to make a whole scandal of
pharmaceuticals.
it too. And Melina knows that he's about to die. That there's the Bane knows that this body is about to peter out. So this green sludge monster needs to quickly find a new host. But the thing when Melina dies, there's going to be an executive that's going to replace them immediately after that happens. They hang on to their executives as long as possible. But Earthblood,
What, the
so Earthblood,
what, the
the
game?
terrible werewolf game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Endron was the main villain, and they managed to do one thing right. They made it perfectly clear that if you kill the villain, another one will just immediately take his place. Endron is too big to fail. Unlike the real Enron, this one keeps getting bailed out whenever something goes wrong, and they own too much property to fail. So behold, you now have the welfare queen of Pentex companies, where the US government is going to continuously bail them out with corporate welfare so they can continue to destroy the world. Congratulations.
Sounds like a government issue.
Yeah, Pentex is getting more and more involved in the government. Fun times, right?
Hey, that Malkev guy might have a point.
What?
And now we get.
Oh, Malkov
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
have a point.
he can see the past, present, and future at the same time. He might be on something.
True.
Robert Smythe.
Robert
This guy's great.
Smythe is one of the basic people I've ever read. I did a quick glance over. He was average in school. He was above average in school, but not spectacular. He cruised below almost anyone's radar. College, he quickly drifted to his business major, which surprised me, and he graduated with acceptable grades. He started at the bottom of Endron's corporate ladder, and with 2 decades, 20 years, he made his way toward the top. He never did anything outstanding. He is exactly what they were looking for. Now, I have to go and read what they are.
Now, you look at this. They is in the history pages. Behold that head. That head.
That is. What the fuck is that?
That's Robert Smythe.
What's all the
That
shit
is.
plugged into him?
His life support.
Oh. It reminds me of that. It reminds me of like that one episode of Futurama where President Nixon takes Bender's body and he's just a head in a jar.
Exactly that. Behold, we can't let this basic bitch die. We gotta hook up his head to life support.
Oh yeah, he had a knack. And I'm gonna read this quote for quote. He had a knack for keeping his mouth shut and his eyes open. They reached out
Smoke less,
to
smile
him.
more.
They told him what they were doing, and he was like, "Yeah, you know what? Sounds great."
Yep, I'm okay with selling my soul to the devil. Sounds good.
Yeah, it states that he's been one of them for so long, for as long as he can remember, and he expects to be one of them for the rest of his life. He is content with the knowledge He's content in that knowledge and content with what he does. So he was made for these people.
He was born an NPC and he will die an NPC.
Exactly.
An evil, shitty, rotund NPC.
Yeah, he's
And now we have. Yes?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna go over his image. I'm gonna read this
Yes.
for word. Smith is an approximately 5.5 feet tall. He has black hair that's going gray at the temples, a round face with blue eyes, a fair complexion that looks as if it burns very easily in the sun. He always dresses in a very blue or gray suit. He has round rimmed glasses that magnify the moonish appearance of his face. Often he carries an umbrella with him because you never know when it's going to rain.
Yeah, he's
You
an
never know,
NPC.
He's
just like
the
Willy
basic.
Wonka.
Yeah. If,
Just imagine like the world's most boring Willy Wonka.
yeah, if he didn't stand out as much. He's Willy Wonka in the back of the room going, I agree with your views.
Yep. I am possessed by a demon.
I
Every time I
love
close
it.
my
What are we
eyes, I see
talking about?
demons. Yep, that sounds great. Yep, it's time to plan. Here's my money.
So there was a third face of Endron, wasn't there?
Michelle Beckman, the woman standing behind the head, the one competent member of Endron. All right, so she knows she's a devil. She has fully signed on with the Faustian bargain, and she loves it. She is a psychopath, and she is the second most senior researcher in her division. Currently, she's working on ways to turn oil-eating bacteria into disease-causing organisms. Would you like to get a horrible disease every time you fill your car with gasoline? She's doing it. She's working on it. And that oil-eating bacteria, behold, we're going to put that in our motor oil to make you buy more. Or we're just going to fly over, drop it in America's emergency reserves. Well, Biden already cleared it out for us. Thank you, Biden. I did that. But she would have done it, and it would have, behold, destroyed America's oil supply. So, behold, America would now have their finger up their ass the minute the next war would happen, leading to the Calamity Worm getting a head start, causing as much destruction as it wants, wherever it wants, to set up its next war. We have 3 wars. Would you like to pick them? Let's see. Where would you like to go, Tyler? We have Ukraine, Gaza, and Niger. Where would you like to go?
I don't know. I mean, the Shadlards seem to be making quick work of Ukraine. And by quick work, I mean they've been stuck in the mud for the better part of 3 fucking years. And I don't want to fucking talk to them. I'd rather not fuck about with the Beta Hakim and Gaza. That seems like a fucking shithole. What the fuck's going on in Niger?
On the demigod games. I'm the vampire that has the god powers. Submit to me, people.
You know what? That doesn't sound too bad. I could take care of that.
And behold, Grim, we have successfully accomplished the Fianna to Africa fund.
Why is that the plan?
You keep complaining about not having a home, or there you go, get out of here. It's going to satisfy the Wendigo, it's going to satisfy the Actina.
Well, I mean, but it's a little bit of a hard place to get a foothold at. I'd like my ancestral homeland back, but they're a bit too deep in the throes of the waiver.
It's going to satisfy Grim as well.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
Everyone's happy. There we go.
Everybody wins.
Mate, this sucks.
Don't worry. We'll take care of your ancestral home.
Oh, you fuck it. I swear to God.
All right. And yeah, that's about it with Endron. I think it's also pretty obvious how they cause pollution.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cars. And oil.
We also remember what happened with BP in 2012.
Did you ever watch the movie with Mark Wahlberg in it, Deepwater Horizon?
No.
Like, the whole scene leading up to, like, the fucking, to, like, the whole explosion is probably one of the most tense scenes I've ever seen. And it was probably even more terrifying for the people that actually happened to. That and the fact that the guy who was in charge of orchestrating that wasn't like thrown off the boat when they were picking people up is nothing short of a damn shame. They should have had that man shot.
Yeah, on top of that, the real life crisis, that was completely preventable. All you had to do was stop pouring water on it and listen to your engineers. That entire disaster was perfectly preventable.
Yes.
But
that was
thankfully
mismanagement to a T.
Thankfully, we do have a few good gas companies out there. Exxon, once again, I am not a spokesperson for Exxon at all, but behold, we have found a way to double our output. Behold, the oil production bell. We're not hitting that bell curve today, as I swear this should have been front page news when this was made, but yeah, it feels good, man, seeing that.
I can't fucking.
There is
Goddamn
something...
ad block is in the way.
Hang
on. I got an idea. I'll put it on another thing. I'll use a different browser.
And something I think we are missing today with Endron, Justin Achille pretended to be intelligent for a minute because he put a whole editorial for why Tesla sucks as a company in the middle of the Black Fury page, where that should not have gone. But yeah, we are beginning to know that Tesla, with their electric car that's supposed to be saving the environment, is causing just as much destruction because of all the mining you have to do to get that lithium battery. And then the minute that battery goes bad, it goes into a landfill where that entire land is contaminated and you can build nothing on it. You were supposed to get a Lidl in the city, but it turns out that land is contaminated. So great. That's less room for your city to grow because of that.
You know, we could have had fucking hydrogen batteries by now.
We could have done that,
says
but
we don't?
Nah, we got a lobby.
That's true. That's true.
Love this. On top of that, I feel like that coal and nuclear, you could go in other directions. You know about wind farms, Kyle?
Yeah, they sometimes work.
And they kill a shitload of birds.
Yes, they do.
You want to raise hell? You want to raise hell about the environment? Here you go, right there. As you got all these different birds being killed off, like how many between 2013 and 2014? It was 140,000 to 679,000 back then. I can give you a higher statistic if you want.
Okay. Wind turbines have long garnered scrutiny for killing birds that fly into their spinning blades or tall towers. Much of the data about bird deaths at wind facilities come from studies published in 2013 and 2014. Those studies gave a wide range for the number of birds that die in wind turbine collisions, from 1,400,000 to 679,000. The numbers are likely to be higher today because more wind farms have been built in the past decade. Those numbers were not insignificant, but they represent a tiny fraction of the birds killed annually in other ways, like flying into buildings, caught by house cats. Studies have estimated it killed up to 988 million and 4 billion birds each year, respectively. Cats have killed 4 billion birds. Okay.
And behold, that number has now jumped up to 1.17 million with that article.
I mean, wasn't there a study that showed, like, if you put fucking cookies. If you put like stripes on the fucking propellers, then birds will know to avoid them, or is that for bats? I think it's a bats thing.
It might be bats, yeah.
It's bats.
Yep.
It's a bird's too stupid to know not to fly into that. Something falcon with the surfing. But yeah, exactly. We can go other ways as to how energy production can also cause environmental damage, which Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th Edition didn't want to talk about, so we're talking about it.
I mean, the whole point of the game is to push
cool.
humanity back to the Stone Age so this shit doesn't happen anymore.
That's easy.
And as to how you would stop these guys, Grim, any thoughts?
How to stop Endron?
Impossible, isn't it?
Solar? Go solar?
Well, you also have an energy crisis with that because energy tends to be pitiful, and in places that are going full solar like Canada, behold, that's a country that is overcast and snowy 60% of the year.
Maybe have people go out and touch grass every once in a while.
Yeah, how about you just stop using so much electricity all the time? Just go outside, stop using all this power.
I mean, as far as it goes, from my opinion, it seems that they seem to have a revolving door leadership. The only one that really needs to go is Michelle Bachmann. We get that dumb bitch, then maybe we'd have to avoid some of the flesh-eating bacteria that should be put in the motor. So, aside from that, what else could we do? If we go in and we try to destroy oil rigs ourselves, that'd just create a worse problem because then we wouldn't know how to fucking shut it down. However, if we did find a way in order to outcompete them by making a better energy source that didn't pollute, although that's waiver shite. So, they're kind of just stuck. As for the nuclear power that they're doing, well, we need to nip those in the bud before they even get started.
Well, I got an easy solution. More money to the Weaver. Just let the Weaver come in, poach the companies, and behold, I'd rather have the Weaver in charge of my energy than the Worm.
Ought to be safer, but then that'd be a bigger problem down the line.
The Weaver came up with the concept. The Weaver knows best how to run the concept.
And then we could turn it down. Then we can tear it apart safer.
Or,
So-
it's just a thought,
Yes?
give in to our Weaver overlords.
The fuck kind of get are
And
you?
behold, the
That was coming from
glassworkers were
Grim.
right.
Oh. I, for one, welcome our new spider overlords.
Yeah.
I love the spider mommy in the sky.
Yes. So,
As
what else we doing?
as for ideas as to what they do, they have a few ideas in here already. So race to the finish. You have a whole set for an evil bike rally where it's like Harrison Ford Motors bike rally that's going on that's fueled by Endron, and all the fuel is going to destroy the environment in that area, and you have to stop the bike race from happening. I'd plan for stopping a nuclear meltdown, where we already talked about that a little bit. Tanker troubles. Endron's just sailing an oil tanker out in the middle of the ocean and then intentionally blowing it up to pollute the environment. You gotta prevent that from happening. Operation Blackout, which we're going to have a little bit of. But Endron controls power, so let's just have fun with Endron by just shutting off power, and while power's off, we can just have a wormish vampire and Black Sparrow have their way with the city.
See, they do that intentionally to cause chaos and havoc in cities. They call it
Which
the
is,
oops method, if I can find it again.
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Sorry.
Considering the delicate interdependencies of modern society, it's no wonder that the blackouts in major urban areas are regarded as catastrophes. Skipping a little. When lights go out, every storefront becomes an open invitation to loot, every windshield begs to be smashed, and every pile of debris promises the heat of a bonfire. Blackouts cause untold millions of dollars in property damage, massive damage to a city's communities, and scores of deaths, either from rioting or the simple failure of medical equipment, air conditioning, and heat waves, and the like. Is it any surprise, then, that every so often someone at an Endron-owned power plant hits the oops switch, a small, well-hidden deadman switch that completely cuts off any output from the plant for a period up to 6 hours. Smiles and walks away to watch the fun.
Damn, that's fucked up.
They do this shit intentionally.
They do it for fun.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
ask Sean about the brownouts. We can ask the champion within about the brownouts too, because he lived in New York for a little bit of time. A lot of chaos happens in New York when that happens.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Goodness gracious.
So, it's an evil oil company. I think the ideas can come to you with this one.
Yep. Pretty simple.
Now, I think we have enough time for one more company,
Yes.
and I will take the lead on this one.
So who do we got?
gets this one gets me because back in 2017, shit happened with my family internally. So my cousin, his pregnant wife, moved into our household, and they had a baby while they were there, and that's probably one of the best days of my life. Like the day that he was born. I'm not going to give away his name for like the family's privacy, but this uh I'm a guy who says that you need to leave kids to hell alone. If you are a guy who targets children with any shit you do, um, I probably can't say it because I'm gonna make myself legally liable if I say it out loud, but you are my least favorite person if you target kids.
How do you sleep at
And
night?
this this is a company that targets kids. Um, Also wins the award for most fucked up image in the book. Here we go.
Oh, look at that. That's a winner right
Yeah.
there.
Yes. War crimes.
Training your 5-year-old child to be a public shooter. Avalon Toys.
I love the
is,
fucking baby with a dart in his eye.
Yeah. We combine a Nerf gun with lawn darts, and we get this.
Yeah, that is wild.
And behold, it's an evil toy company. Now this sounds stupid, I know, but give us a minute.
I love how it looks like
So-
a fucking devil with horns and a gaping mouth.
Yeah, when you look at it, it's like the little like Rorschach blot. That actually is like a genius design when we look at that.
Yeah.
Um, this company is run by what is probably the smartest man in Pentex, and this guy is deadly. Daniel Dial, who has no real image. He is a guy who he has a master's degree in business and engineering. But when you look at his past, every attempt to pull up this guy's records in school have resulted in nothing. It's rumored that he was a student at MIT in the 60s, but then MIT caught fire and just so happened to destroy his record. Now, when I read that, Kyle, my blood ran cold. And this is the reason why. There is a section in the book where the author who made this, I will credit you in a minute, uh, noted that anyone who has read Mage the Ascension, it's catching on to catching the drift. Daniel Dial is a former technocrat,
Oh shit.
specifically Iteration X.
That's
Now,
fucked.
like full DEFCON 0 war sirens were going off in my head when I read that, because we've got the mechanical nightmares of the World of Darkness as a toy company.
Yeah, selling him
And
to
the
kids
Men in
like
Black-
fucking Brambozo the Clown over here.
Yeah. The guy who wrote this, by the way, is Dina McKinley. Thank you, Dina. You wrote probably my favorite villain in this book. They're disgusting, and I hate you for writing this too. And so, with that in mind, why aren't the technocrats trying to kill this guy? It's because they're fully okay with what he's doing. So, behold, the plan is even more subtle than King Breweries, where Avalon Toys, they started around the 60s. Like, think of Mattel's history when I
Yep.
say this. It's a guy who said, "Oh, we just have a motto here where it's fun for today and tomorrow." And I'm Daniel Dial, and I've got my buttoned up shirt and my blazer on with my tie and my slacks. And here's my little TED talk, and I'm going to show you this squeaky clean company. Now, I began Avalon in 1968, and I just love kids, and I love seeing kids smile. And I realized that we just didn't have enough toys for kids back then, so I made this company to help them. And he also brings up, thank you for bringing this up in the book because I like sociology. Piaget and Kohlberg's measurements for children development, where um, Piaget his goal was showing the developmental stages of kids from being a baby to being a adult where you're 2 years old, you're learning how your body works. You're 7 to 11, you're learning how the world works. By the time you're 12 years old, you are a small adult where you might not even mature until you're in your 30s as you're constantly learning about the world around you. Um, as you know, back in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, the Victorian era, we just thought when you turn 12, you might as well be an adult. Go
Yeah.
ahead, get a job. But now we don't see them so much as little people. There's more care put in child development now. Um, and then also Kohlberg's stage of moral development, where kids have pretty poor senses of morality until they turn 10 years old. Around the time they're 10, you can tell how good of a person that kid is going to be
Mhm.
because around this time you start hitting puberty. You hit puberty, you start figuring out whether or not you like hurting people. Are you sadistic? Do you follow any traits of the dark triad? And by the time you're 16, very little is going to change in you. You've become the person you're going to be, and you need something highly traumatic to happen to you if you're going to change as a person. Daniel Dial knows about these scales, and he is going to exploit them the best he can. He has a toy line for both boys and girls, where he is going to, during those developmental stages, make the boys as psychopathic as possible and make the girls as miserable as possible. Not because he's sexist like Jeremy King,
Yep.
but because it's the easiest thing to do. As we know with boys, that they're more object focused, where a kid wants to play with cars, tools. They don't want a doll, they want an action figure, and the action figure is going to do cool stuff instead of just dressing up or anything.
Exactly.
They want action scenes with their toys. Well, with a girl, they want to play house. They like dolls, they like dress up, they like makeup, they like interpersonal kind of toys.
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin who also has a girl that's around the same age as the boy that I mentioned before in the story.
Yeah.
And seeing the two different ways they play. It's like the boy has the whole Paw Patrol set where he's got that little scooter that's got Chase's face on it,
Mhm.
and he really likes the scooter, like learn how to ride a bike. And meanwhile, the girl in question, um, whenever my mom plays with her, she always wants to start playing supermarket or model or summer camp, and that's like the kind of stuff she wants to play out.
Right.
So Daniel Dial understands those and knows how to exploit both of those. Now he's not selling these kids for to the Setites or anything like that, or the seventh generation. He's not doing anything to prevent it either. But there's something insidious as to what he's doing. There's no Banes in his toys, but being a technocrat, he knows how propaganda works. And the intention with his toys is that he is going to slowly add banal thoughts to whoever whoever buys a toy. With the boy toys, it is this G.I. Joe spoof called Action Bill.
Yeah, I was seeing that it's on his shirt, and he's got this big, damn, ridiculous-looking gun.
Yeah. Ryan, you're a little bit older than us. Did you watch G.I. Joe at all?
Ouch. Ooh.
Bruh, you didn't have to do him like that.
Ooh.
Bruh.
This
I'll
is a
have you
legit
know, I'm 28.
Okay.
So what? So you're 3 years older than us. Did you watch G.I. Joe?
No. I mean, I
All
watched the movie that came out like
Yeah.
some time ago.
Sean
With,
probably saw the movie, though.
Yeah.
I do remember the
So-
pork chop sandwiches meme.
Yeah. We probably should have saved this question for Sean and Ham, but neither of them are here today.
Sadly, no.
Now, but G.I. Joe, it's they have the parody here, Action Bill, where instead of Cobra, it's Wolf, and of course it's like these evil wolf shifting communists. That Action Bill says, "You don't know who's going to be a shapeshifter, kids. Pick up your daddy's gun and shoot all these wolves." And behold, the ultimate scheme is to start turning kids into public shooters, where they start playing with Nerf guns, and it's cool. You start shooting each other with the guns, you think it's just a game. You start playing laser tag, oh, it's just a game. I shoot you, you're going to be fine. And I'm going to be so desensitized to this that when I get my dad's gun when I'm 12, they're going to walk right into a mall, immediately think they're playing, they're so desensitized to it, behold, you have your next news headline.
Yeah, that's fucked up for the
And
technocracy to do. They're basically making Combine.
and with the girls, they have a parody of Barbies called Cece. When I see that, I immediately start thinking of Cece's Pizza. But
I was thinking CC Rider,
me
but
and
you
you,
know.
me and you both watched the Barbie movie, and we know that like the whole shtick behind it is that stop politicizing this doll that was never meant to be politicized. So I don't really see Barbie as like the whole it's objectifying women, blah 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 bullshit, which is ultimately what it is. It's just bullshit. Bratz, on the other hand, I think you could make that indictment on Bratz,
Yeah.
considering that all the dolls have like big puffy fucking lips, extremely heavy eyeshadow. The default outfit is kind of skimpy on them. So, uh, less Barbie, more Bratz is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
But
that
the
makes
whole
sense.
thing behind it is that we're going to show girls nothing but these skinny bimbos. And we're going to get girls thinking, oh, if you want anybody to give a shit about you, you need to start wearing revealing clothes. You need to start wearing heavy makeup. You need to starve yourself to the point of anorexia. And then and only then is anyone going to pay attention to you. And it gets girls so obsessed with their own bodies and their own images that it's all they can think of. That's all they think anyone sees them as, which leads to, as we know with the mental illnesses that appear in both boys and girls tend to be more neurotic, leaning more towards anxiety disorders and depression disorders than boys. Which by the time puberty hits, you're an absolute fucking mess after buying Avalon products.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fun times. And behold, they have other stuff like Pocket Beast, which is definitely not a parody of Digimon.
Pokemon
Collect them all.
creatures.
You gotta collect all the Digimon, which are these like farted out designs. Pretty much like modern day Pokemon, or just all of them look like fucking furry bait or just really uninspired animals.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And we're on, and we release edition after edition. We have our bestseller. It's Green Leo. You gotta buy him. He looks like this little generic dinosaur. He looks like the substitution doll from Pokemon. That's what he looks like.
uh,
And behold, he's got a completely uninspired design, but they use FOMO, the fear of missing out, drive up sales on this like bullshit toy that's not impressive, and it's just going to sit in your room and collect dust. And they sell out of it all the time, and it gets all these people to like be, it's
like Funko Pops, basically.
yes, you stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
We're going to convince you to buy raw material that we're going to charge 5 times the cost of, even though this is just fucking plastic that's painted and bombs away. Profit out the ass. There we
Same
go.
thing with Magic cards. It's like Magic users buying a bunch of pieces of cardboard for a half of their mortgage.
And I love Games Workshop. I love Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Fantasy, but at the same time, the fucking minis, dude.
Yeah. Just buy a 3D printer.
Oh my god. And he definitely did not say that we don't support piracy. Please.
A buddy of mine at the store we work at actually bought a 3D printer, and he's been printing his own minis.
Nice. Oh,
So you
shit.
do it. Well, I'm pretty sure like GW has like their own codes they can probably buy online for that. I
More
didn't look
likely.
into it that much because I don't 3D print.
I know that you can use a actually Hero Forge. You can actually like have a subscription where they'll give you the 3D animated or the 3D code files that you can actually print them out.
Yeah, the 3D printer.
Yeah, they're pretty neat.
Under the line, Pet Pal, which is an evil Tamagotchi. I want to read this out I'm going to paraphrase. It is a digital pet that has buttons called feed, water, play, scold, and clean. The pet is usually a puppy or a cat, and it barks and whines, and jumps, and it poops, and you got to interact with it with the buttons. And it gets louder and louder the hungrier or the thirstier it gets, or the more it craves attention. But if you let the pet die, instead of getting the weird egg with wings screen you got with Tamagotchis, instead you get a little FMV that plays for 8 frames on an infinite loop. And the screen goes from being black and white to being in color as your little dog or cat now has a little halo and wings sitting on a cloud while a little pretty song plays in the background. and it's meant to teach kids, oh, don't worry about not feeding your pets. When they die, they go to a beautiful place. So don't worry about feeding your dog. Don't worry about feeding your cat. Don't worry about cleaning up their poop. Just let them die. They'll go to heaven. But
That's
don't worry
fucked
about
up.
death. It's just death. Just go to heaven. Come on, Zach. Let's go to heaven.
Yeah, that's like some horror book shit, man. Like that's like some Goosebumps level stuff.
Next up is Nukem.
I'm the Duke.
It's a parody
Hair to the king, baby.
It's a parody of Risk, where the point is to cause nuclear war instead of preventing it. Destroy all the countries and you win.
Oh, that's charming. Wait. Wasn't that in RoboCop?
Yes.
Yes, it was. I'd buy that for $1.
We also have Poopy Susie, which is a obnoxious as hell baby doll that does nothing but cry all the fucking time. And nobody wants to play with it. And Daniel Dial realized that this was a really stupid toy, so they stopped selling it.
Hey, don't say it. It's like pregnant Barbie.
The point of the doll was to make it disenchant the idea of motherhood amongst little girls and say, hey, being a mom sucks. When no, we can talk to Sean and he says his wife is enjoying having a baby.
Well, I'm glad that they're doing
that
good.
really does that really does like piss me off, like the whole narrative that parenthood sucks. No, like have kids, dude.
No, it's tiring. It's exhausting work, but at the end of the day, it's a labor of love. I got a buddy of mine who lives in Canada, and his brother-in-law recently had a daughter, and my buddy's just head over heels in love with her. Just absolutely, he's buying her books. He's going out with the family to pumpkin patches. He's doing everything he can to be the best uncle that he can be. Takes her to the library, teaching her to read. And you know, it's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it's a labor of love. Have kids. It's good for you, and it's good for the future.
And if you can't have kids, do adopt one.
Yes.
And
I need
lastly, we have
somebody
the
to love.
this is a mouthful. Omni TV's Mega Power Teen League action figures, which is definitely a spoof of the Power Rangers.
No shit.
And it's just this extremely banal spoof of the Power Rangers, where it's just not like I never did get into Power Rangers. As an adult, I really like Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider Zero and Rise are the two I like the most. And as a kid, I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny I'm into Kamen Rider now because Power Rangers was just the most boring shit in the world to me.
Really?
When it came on TV.
Which Power Rangers was
like,
it?
The acting, hell, I don't even know. It's like the one that was like coming out around like 2003, 2005. But yeah, that would come on, and like the acting was fucking hokey as hell.
It was.
Like even as a kid, I knew like, hey, this kind of sucks. Like this, it's the same reason why I never watched Barney as a kid. And the action looked fake to me as a kid, where I was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Danny Phantom, and Teen Titans on another channel. Why am I watching action that I know is fake? When the fake action looks more interesting.
I'm gonna be honest though,
and
like, when I was a kid, it's like there was. I remember seeing like a couple episodes, like the original, like 1980, 1990s Power Rangers, and then a little bit of like the Power Rangers dinosaur one. But the one that really grabbed my attention and held it, Power Rangers SPD. If any of you remember that show is kind of fucking tight.
The SPD stands for Silent but Deadly.
SPD.
I heard a B in that. Sorry.
No, SPD is like the super police department or something like that, ran by this like alien dog guy. And it honestly turned into like a semi-serious cop drama with these really cartoonishly evil villains. And I thought it was
hashtag.
What's up?
Hashtag ACAG.
But no, if you can, watch Power Rangers SPD. That show is tight.
But the whole shtick behind this Power Ranger toy is that it's a toy where, okay, you gotta buy all the Power Rangers, cool. Now you gotta buy all their exclusive weapons that don't come with the original package. Like, cool. Now I gotta buy their rides. Now I gotta buy their motorcycles. Now I gotta buy their robot pets. Now I gotta buy their robot jets. Now I gotta buy the robot armor. And it's all these accessories. Where just to have the complete set, you're spending like $1,000 alone just to get all the Power Ranger toys. And that's the plan.
Hmm.
And once again, it's raw product where it's just plastic. Like, this is what pisses me off about Lego, dude. Like, as much as Lego sets cost, you want me to spend $300 for Bowser when this is just raw product plastic bricks that you spray painted, and that's it.
Well, I mean, the thing doesn't just come from the it. I'm gonna be honest, like it took me a while to really get Legos as a kid. Like when I was younger, like yeah,
Yeah.
I would play with Legos, but then when I learned how to like follow instruction better, and I had like something I could be proud of, that was something a little bit more gratifying. However, the real fun in Legos for me came from the ability to experiment with it. Like, yeah, it might just be raw product, just bricks thrown together, but at the same time, the flexibility of going away from the instructions and putting together something that wasn't intended is I feel like is the true appeal of Legos.
And I did like Legos as a kid, but now as an adult, I just look at the prices and I think, what kid can afford to play with Legos now?
That's true.
Um,
Like a lot of I don't see like I go to there's a Lego store in a mall not far from me, and yeah, parents bring their kids in there, but I'm looking at the prices and they're anywhere from like for like a full set of Star Wars stuff, it's anywhere from like 75 to like $300, and I'm like,
which is
how the
like,
fuck?
what the fuck?
Yeah, like yeah, I get it's an entire Imperial Star Destroyer, but that is outrageous.
And for raw plastic.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, you have the other shit that goes on with toy companies that like planned obsolescence, where we make the toy out of crappy material, which was with so the toy's gonna break after a year of play. Where I remember like I had like Teen Titans action figures, and they like sometimes the leg would just pop off as I was playing with it,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom had to fix it with little like copper wire and tape. But same thing with like that Power Ranger toy we mentioned before. Just that's even more money you're spending on the Power Rangers. Don't take it out of the box, or it's gonna fall apart in your hands.
Yeah, it's
Or with
all
that,
planned obsolescence.
yeah, intellectual property theft, where we have corporate spies. Thanks to you being a technocrat, you know how to do this. You're going around stealing designs from other toy companies and then copying that design with your toys. We sell it for cheaper because, behold, you're spending less money on R&D, more money on production. You're able to get that out faster. Um, Environmental exploitation. I guess how all that plastic is made.
Microplastics.
Pollution.
Yep.
It's you got Avalon toys in your blood, dude.
It reminds me of this meme that I saw where it was like my grandfather full of asbestos, my dad full of lead, and me full of microplastics.
And now for the most fucked up part of it all. You wonder who's building all these toys?
Who is?
Kids in Central and South America and China.
Ah, sweatshop
Knew
labor.
Yeah, child slavery. So they're not selling to the Setites, they're buying from the Setites.
Jesus.
Great. You gotta love these guys, just absolute predators. Where that's the thing with Avalon. They know in the book that because none of their products are directly tainted with Banes, that werewolves tend to turn them a blind eye because we've got Endron to worry about, because Endron is a constant problem. But Avalon is just doing what it does behind the scenes, and nobody really notices until it's too late. You've already ruined a kid's life by that point.
Yep.
And that's a big damn deal to the Black Furies, Bone Gnawers, and Children of Gaia who love kids. And behold, they do a lot of operations. I know the Black Furies, but they will run in, say, an out of control Fomori husband has just killed his wife and is about to kill the kid. The Black Fury runs in with a red tongued friend, kills the husband, and then scoops up the kid because the Black Furies have a tender spot for children. So even if it's a boy, so they bring the kid back to a safe spot, and then behold, it's too late. That kid also has a bane in him, and hopefully you use Sense Worm before that happened, because there's two cases where it's going to happen. You either bring that kid back to your safe spot, the Fomori switch goes off, and they cause a massacre within that safe area, and behold, that's a lot of kinfolk dead, and possibly a dead werewolf. Or you use Sense Worm. You find out that that kid is already corrupted past the point of no return, and now you're put in a difficult conundrum. Tyler and Grim, if you were to encounter a kid that was a Fomori, do you think you could bring yourself to kill it?
I would hate myself forever and probably drink myself to death if I had to do it, but the fuck else am I supposed to do?
Strictly speaking, as Grim, yes.
That's what you do. That's the real coping mechanism. Just replace your thoughts with muscle.
Ryan, probably not.
Because
Grim,
that
absolutely.
really is the thing. That really is the thing. Like same with like games like Pathologic and Drakengard, where you have missions like that, and it makes you question the main characters you're playing as. Where even like getting into the role play, like even though like the kid in those games are pixels, if you're taking the game seriously with suspension of disbelief, would you be able to do that, and would you be able to live with yourself after doing that?
That's the thing.
So fucking child soldiers is what this company makes.
Yeah,
War
that's terrifying.
crimes.
Yeah, it's like I'm thinking about it in the context of Tyler. Tyler would like swallow his nerves to do it, and then as soon as he did it, he would just break down crying. He would hate having to do that.
I think the only person in our party who would be able to do that would be Reynard.
Or Grim.
Yeah.
Both of the gang.
Without
I was
hesitation.
also going to say Wrath of the Storm.
Yeah, Wrath's kind of a dickhead.
Yeah, he is.
Now you may be wondering, what is preventing you from just running right into Avalon Toys and destroying their entire facility? Well, besides their roots in the economy. You remember that Iteration X mention?
Oh, yeah.
So this is where the full alarm siren starts going off. Kyle,
Yes.
there is a frightening creature in World Darkness with a full stat block known as the hit mark, where what these guys do is that it is a robot modeled after the Ravnos Antediluvian that has all the powers of the Ravnos Antediluvian, that has gone through 4 iterations, now on iteration 5, that is able to fight and kill a full pack of werewolves by itself. Are you getting the full grasp of the situation now?
Yeah, that thing is fucked. Why the fuck does that exist?
So now we have
Why
hit
not?
marks, Mark 4, walking around the Avalon toy facilities that have 10 soak dice, 5 of which automatically roll successes, that have sonic screeches that stun you for a full turn, and then remove 3 dice from your pool on your next roll. Have a sonic shock, where if I'm reading this right, can just out and out kill you with 20 aggravated uncirclable damage in 1 punch. And then once that is spent, they have a punch that will deal 6 aggravated damage upon hit.
Holy shit.
Why?
That's a boss fight in of itself.
Dude, that's just a way to TPK a party, bro.
And because that's a robot, none of your gifts that affect willpower or work with a contested willpower roll or cause any status effects affect the robot. So your ace in the hole, your Wendigo ice magic, your Fenris demoralization, your Shadow Lord fear effects, none of those are going off.
But you know what will? Sharpen claws.
Yeah.
Which
We just
is
hope you
essentially
damage that thing fast enough.
I can conjure
metal,
an
right?
element. I could short circuit it probably.
You gotta hope its battery's exposed.
If it's metal, I can just use it to sharpen my claws.
That's true.
Get that damage boost.
And because of its strength score, Grim, if you throw a car at that thing, it can catch it and then tear the car in two on the same turn. That's how physically powerful these things are.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying.
You see, that's why you get it when it's
And
not paying attention.
and Daniel Dial has two little sidekicks, Gerald Brennigan and Marion Booker, who are his long-term planner and his short-term planner, respectively. So combine that with Daniel Dial's already big brain intelligence, you have an evil genius who's got the foresight of a Malkavian with how smart he is. Like, no, he's not seeing the future, but he's smart enough to plan out what's going to happen to him. And he's just smart enough to constantly avoid his own death.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Avalon's a
And there's
fucking
a
shit show.
And of course, there's a few campaign ideas in here too. Some notes for a storyteller. We have a Tower Christmas campaign. You want to do a Tower Christmas campaign? Where we have a bunch of kids walking around dressed up in Action Bill Danger Team outfits that they got for Christmas. And your campaign begins with Christmas Day, where they find a Bonar kinfolk or a Bonar full shifter and kill him in the street with their toys because they want to play as Action Bill killing a wolf agent.
Yeah, that's
in the book.
mega scuffed, bro.
Hey, page 99 in the book, and behold the moral conundrums you would get from that. Because how in the hell are you going to handle that? You better get,
Excessive drinking to prevent Hirano.
you better get those kids before the Red Talons do.
Oh yeah, the Red Talons will just tear them in half. They won't give a shit.
Yeah. Factory smell. So it turns out this one is an Avalon toy one, where the factory scape is beginning to seep into the Umbra. Because that can happen because we have a technomancer who runs the company.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy those hit markers running around the Umbra.
Wow, that sucks.
And then we got another one, which is a babysitting gone wrong scenario, where say like you have a kinfolk who gets a job babysitting, and then behold, it turns out the kid they're babysitting is playing with an Action Bill toy or a CC doll, and then oh shit, can you get to the phone and call for help before things go sour?
That'd be pretty terrifying. It's like Chucky.
They bring that up too with like a few toys too. That's because that's another way they get to your kids. In the event they do have a Bane in their toy, it is going to be exactly like Child's Play, but played straight, where Chucky never takes the mask off, and you have a kid who goes to police after killing somebody and says, "Oh no, it was my doll. It was my doll who told me to do it." And of course, the police aren't going to believe him. That kid is then put into juvenile detention. Their life is over. And then they're perfectly vulnerable for a Bane to fly in, possess the kid, and now you have your next career felon for Mori Soldier.
Yeah. Honestly, though, for this company in particular, I feel like it'd be neat to mix the splats with Changeling. Because think about
Changeling? Oh,
yeah, like a fairy
shit is.
Yeah, like a boggin or a fucking knocker coming and being like,
Oh, them toys are all shite. I can build you a better toy than that.
and then they build a better toy.
Same thing. You know what? You go up to Knockers. Behold, the Knockers make all of the fun stuff. They make machines that just work. It just works.
Exactly.
It just works with the Knockers.
That'd be the
It
foil to
just works.
Avalon is the knockers.
Or just get them talking to Red Caps instead, and the Red Cap gets them started on sports. Get them talking to the Sluat. The Sluat says, "Hey, you want to try out the fun's hobby of bug collecting?" And behold, start getting the changes on this.
Yeah, that'd be the key right there.
On top of that, I see these guys having a little bit of an issue with the gangrel, because what if your action build gun-toting kid sees somebody that they need to kill, a wolf that they need to kill, but it's a gangrel instead?
Then they'd have a problem with the anarchs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna piss the anarchs off because they hate corporations. That's gonna get the attention of the anarchs if one of their kids, soldiers, attacks a gangrel instead.
Colt's just sitting there
And now you
enjoying
have
his
to
drink, and some little bastard kid with this fucked off monstrosity of a weapon comes up and shoots him with it.
And now you have to deal with the entirety of the Bruja. Enjoy that fight.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ryan,
Avalon's
looks like you're about to
fucked.
say something.
Right?
So Ryan's got an idea.
Did I?
Got an idea.
I don't know. I
Well,
thought
you're
we
not
heard you.
muted.
Oh no, yeah, no, I haven't said anything.
Yeah, Avalon
I was-
Toys is
I got-
fucked.
Yeah,
I've also got another idea as
What's
to
that?
how you can mix spots with these guys.
How's that?
So do use something with the 9 traditions on this one, where you'll occasionally have what I'm thinking about is that these guys will team up with Omni TV to make animated series.
Mhm.
So they have like the whole action build cartoon, which is just made to be in service of the toys. Get the virtual adapts involved in that.
Oh, they did a field day.
And yeah, and you remember the whole Max Headroom hacking broadcast hijack?
Oh yeah, that kind of thing.
So behold, that's the way you can get your mage group involved in this. The virtual adepts see this, it pisses them off. They start attacking Avalon directly. In fact, this would be a perfect group to cyber attack too, with the virtual adepts.
That or the
And,
Glasswalkers.
And the Sons of Ether too, because both the virtual adepts and Sons of Ether were former members of the Technocracy. They find out that a technocrat is making demonic toys. Boom, the 2 traditions that like each other are now working together to fight another technocrat front.
There's all kinds of fun shit that can go down.
On top of that, have your rare technocracy game decide that they no longer need Avalon, that they've seen their practices, they've seen the discourse that they're causing. It's going against the plans of the New World Order. So they decide that we no longer need you, Daniel Dial. And now you have Daniel Dial scrambling to the worm, trying to escape his former colleagues as they plan his death.
Daniel Dial as a Fomori would be terrifying.
Now, but the best thing about him, completely sober.
Yeah.
Not one hint of worm corruption in his mind.
But yeah, he's a technocrat.
Yeah, he knows the magic, and he can just purge a bane out of his body in case it enters. And think about it, too. With him being a former member of Iteration X, I'm also realizing that this dude's probably got cybernetics.
More than likely, yeah.
So get your Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk Red on, as he has got all the fun toys. Imagine Daniel Dial, like this corporate CEO, using Sandevistan to slow down time.
Yeah, he's you at the end of Cruelty Squad, basically.
Yeah. And that's part 1 of Pentex. If we were to continue, this would be a 5-hour-long episode.
Yeah.
So we are going to have to cut this into 2 parts.
Yeah, it's already 11 o'clock. We've been at it for a minute.
Yeah. And maybe we'll have Ham with us on the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we have more to talk about.
Yes. For the next episode, hang on, but things freaking out. I believe we are covering the following companies: Black Dog Games, TELUS, and Magadon.
Yes.
With a
I promise.
little... Oh, you promised to read?
I promise to read more and actually come up with detailed notes.
It's all good, man.
We might have a few added groups in there too, because this book is missing a few companies that I thought were good ideas in the Earl 20th edition. So I'll get Ham on that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. And that's it for this episode. We'll continue this next week.
All right. Thank you very much for watching. And, sleep tight. Don't let the Banes bite.
Yeah, exactly. Have a good one, guys.
And Merry Christmas to all.
Happy fucking Halloween. All right. GN.